Chapter 3469. They even speculated that the other party might not even be able to get through the door. Of course, they would not let the other party enter. They would just torture and humiliate the other party to show their strength. But now they found that they were wrong. Such a huge overlord, even if weakened, was not someone they could provoke. It was better to let the other two overlords and the 5 first-rate clans fight against them. They might be able to reap the benefits from outside. Everyone retreated. Hua Feiyu led the crowd and walked in aggressively. However, their mood was even more solemn, because they knew that those outside were just small fries. Inside the Thunder Mountain ancient land, there was a terrifying existence. They would be facing the other 2 overlords and the 5 first-rate clans. At that time, if they were weak, they would be devoured without leaving any bones behind. Thunder Mountain ancient land. At this moment, the 2 overlords were sitting in the north and south. Liuhua Palace and Devouring Sky Palace. The remaining 5 first-rate clans were standing in the east and west. Although they were weaker than the 2 overlords, their strength was still very terrifying. When the 5 first-rate clans were together, even the 2 overlords had to treat them seriously. At this moment, they were all talking and laughing because they knew that the Shadowless clan had arrived. And they were just outside, but they were blocked. An elder of the Tianhe clan said with a smile, wondering when the Shadowless clan would arrive. One of the people from the 4 directions pavilion sneered. They were already here. They were outside, but they were blocked by someone. They would probably be tortured. Those people outside would not be merciful. Who would have thought that a dignified overlord would be reduced to such a state? He could not even enter the Thunder Mountain ancient land. Then there is no need for us to hold back. Everyone laughed. In their opinion, the Shadowless clan was already in their pocket. Next, how would they distribute it? The Shadowless clan had arrived. At this moment, a loud and clear voice came from outside. Oh, they're here? So fast. The experts of the top clans in the Thunder Mountain ancient land were stunned. They did not expect the Shadowless clan to come in so quickly. It was really beyond their expectations. Sure enough, in the next moment, they saw a team coming from afar. Soon, they arrived at the ancient land of the Thunder Mountains. At that instant, the people of the 2 dominators and the 5 first-rate clans all glanced forward. Only the members of the Shadowless clan sneered. Although the number of people who came was not small, there were only a few who had the strength to enter their eyes. It seemed that the Shadowless clan had truly declined. Since they were able to enter, they must have some strength, but there was nothing to be afraid of. So it's a fellow Taoist from the Shadowless race. We've been waiting for you for a long time. Come, take a seat. An elder of the Devouring Sky Hall chuckled as he sat there. Hua Feiyu frowned. Gu Santong and Lin Xian also narrowed their eyes. Where should he sit? The place in the valley had already been divided up by the 5 great families. There was no place left for them at all. In other words, the other party had never intended to invite them to take a seat. Saying such words now was purely to provoke and humiliate them. Hua Feiyu's face turned pale in an instant. She clenched her fists and trembled in anger. Damn it, if their clan was at its peak, these people would definitely not have dared to treat them with such an attitude. At this moment, Lin Xian, who was beside her, said indifferently, "There's nothing to be angry about. Who did the Shadowless clan not get along with and who wanted to swallow you up the most?" She walked directly in his direction. Since there were no seats, she would fight for one. As soon as she heard this, Hua Feiyu's body trembled. Then, a look of determination appeared in her eyes. She took a deep breath and looked in one direction. That direction was the Tianhe clan. Previously, the Shadowless clan and the Tianhe clan had a conflict. 2 days ago, the Tianhe clan was the first to act. Moreover, the conflict was the most intense. So now, she had to find a clan to attack. Then, she chose the Tianhe clan. Hua Feiyu took the lead and led the group forward. The people around them all had mocking expressions on their faces. Suddenly they were stunned. They did not expect Hua Feiyu to really dare to move. Instantly, their expressions became even more interesting. They all wanted to see who the Shadowless clan would choose. No matter who they chose, it would be the same. They would be courting death. Oh, it was the Tianhe clan. The two overlords and the people of the 5 first-rate clans were all stunned. The faces of the people of the Tianhe clan darkened. Damn it! She actually dared to choose their direction. Was she looking down on the Tianhe clan? Tianhe clan, give up this place. Hua Feiyu sneered. The people of the Tianhe clan were so angry that they vomited blood. They were actually being looked down on. One of the elders snorted coldly. You want us to give up this place? Sorry, this place is ours. You'd better find another place. The people of the Tianhe clan sat there and sneered. They had no intention of leaving. What, you won't give up? Then don't blame us for using some tricks. Hua Feiyu's face darkened. The people of the Tianhe clan laughed out loud. Using tricks? What tricks do you dare to use? The Shadowless clan is really reckless. Do you really think you're still an overlord? You want us to give up our seats? Sure, show us your strength. If you can beat us, we'll give it to you. Otherwise, you can just stand there obediently. The others also laughed. This was the scene they wanted. They could only ruthlessly suppress the Shadowless clan and completely shatter their last bit of confidence. Then, the next division would be much smoother. It seemed that they could only fight. Hua Feiyu's figure took a breath. She sent out a few experts of the Shadowless clan, but they were quickly beaten back. An elder of the Tianhe clan laughed out loud. Your Shadowless clan is really trash. Is there no one else? The others also shook their heads. It was really disappointing. They really didn't know how these people came in previously. Could it be that those people outside went easy on them? At this moment, a voice sounded. I'm here. The middle-aged man of the Gu clan who attacked previously walked out again. The moment he attacked, he defeated an elder of the Tianhe clan. This caused countless people to exclaim in surprise. Who was this person? Their gazes were fixed on that figure. At this moment, another expert of the Tianhe clan made a move. However, he was still defeated. This scene was enough to move people. Was there such a terrifying saint in the Shadowless clan? However, at this moment, an expert of the Devour Palace frowned. You're not from the Shadowless clan. What you're using is not a useless clan's ability. Who are you? Chapter 3470. As soon as these words came out, everyone's expression changed. It wasn't someone from the Shadowless family. Damn it, did the Shadowless family ally with other forces? Who was it? Which force dared to ally with them? One had to know that in the entire Great Yen planet, they represented the peak forces. The other families and sects didn't dare to play tricks in front of them. But now, a mysterious powerhouse had appeared. Could it be a powerhouse from another world? At this time, a sage from the Liuhua Palace also spoke. Spatial magic, if I'm not wrong. What you used was a spatial magic, right? What? The powerhouses of the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land all burst into an uproar. Their eyes were wide open. Spatial magic. It was actually a spatial magic. That was a more terrifying magic than the Shadowless family's secret technique. Moreover, it could make countless people jealous. Since ancient times, there had been legends of space being king. Therefore, those who mastered space were the kings of their peers. They could even fight those who were stronger than them without a problem. They didn't expect that there would be someone who could master a spatial magic now. Who was this person? They were all guessing. At this time, the sage from the Liuhua Palace spoke again. I heard that an amazing family came to our great Yen planet. It's a lineage of the remote antiquity family. It should be you, right? Gu family. What? Gu family. Remote antiquity family. Those people sucked in a breath of cold air. Although they were also overlords, compared to the Gu family, the difference was too great. The remote antiquity family had produced a great emperor. How terrifying was that background? It wasn't something they could imagine at all. Damn it, when did the Shadowless family ally with the remote Antiquity family? They couldn't believe it. One had to know that although the Shadowless family was the royal family of the remote Antiquity family, it shouldn't be able to enter the eyes of the remote Antiquity family. After all, the remote Antiquity family was an emperor family. Only the royal family of the ancient 10,000 races could be compared to them. Therefore, they couldn't understand why such a scene would appear. But at this time, the sage from the Liuhua Palace spoke again. Everyone, don't worry. Although they are indeed from the remote Antiquity family, as far as I know, their lineage was driven out. So, there's nothing to be afraid of. What driven out? They were stunned for a moment before they heaved a sigh of relief. So that was it. The real clan of the ancients disdained to join hands with the Shadowless clan. But if it was someone who had been chased out, then it was a different story. When they thought of this, they sneered again. Amongst them, someone from the Tianhe clan snorted coldly. Hua Feiyu, you're too unruly. We didn't invite the Gu clan to this Shadowless convention. You actually dared to bring them in, without permission. Do you believe that I won't suppress you right now? That's not right. Who doesn't know that I'm already married to the Gu family? Therefore, my Shadowless clan and the Gu clan naturally joined forces and became one family. Why can't I bring the Gu clan here? As soon as these words were said, everyone frowned. They had indeed heard of such news, but they did not pay too much attention to it before. Now, they did not expect it to become a problem. Humph! Someone sneered. No matter. He was just a mere abandoned disciple of the Gu clan. There was no need to put him in his eyes. The person who spoke was a member of the Black Wolf race. They were also a royal race of the 10,000 ancient races. However, they didn't show any mercy to the Shadowless family. Instead, they stood up and said loudly, "This Shadowless convention should be to discuss how to divide the Shadowless family. I don't think there's a need to talk nonsense. Let's discuss it directly. Of the 7 clans, the 2 overlords will take the majority. The remaining 5 clans will divide and completely eliminate the Shadowless family. What do you all think?" Sure, those clans nodded. At this moment, an expert from the Devouring Sky Palace said, "We don't want the Shadowless clan's territory and resources. We only want one thing. We only want the ancestral land of the Shadowless clan." As soon as these words were said, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect the Devouring Sky Palace to only want the ancestral land. They thought that there must be some secret there. However, they couldn't care less about that. With a few simple words, the 5 clans were divided. Hua Feiyu and the rest of the Shadowless clan were so angry that they trembled all over. At this moment, Hua Feiyu recalled what Lin Xian had told her. He would not give up any benefits, nor would he cede any land. Therefore, she sneered, "Who dares to take the Shadowless clan's things? Aren't you afraid that you won't be able to take it? Hua Feiyu, you think too highly of yourself. Do you think you can show off just because you brought these people? The Gu clan is powerful, but we don't take them seriously." The people of the Black Wolf clan stood out. He stared at the middle-aged man and said coldly, "You're from the Gu clan? I'd like to see how magical the Gu clan's remarkable powers are." The expert from the Black Wolf clan who stepped forward was also a middle-aged man. He had black hair growing on his body. He walked upright, but his wolf head was shining with a terrifying killing intent. The next moment he instantly attacked. His black claws were like mountains, full of killing intent, and rushed directly toward the middle-aged man from the Gu clan. This attack, it could shatter millions of miles of the starry sky. Humph! The middle-aged man sneered. His figure flashed and tore open the void. He disappeared in an instant. The terrifying palm shattered the void, but it didn't hurt him at all. The next moment, he appeared beside the middle-aged man and pointed at the void. With a terrifying aura, he passed through the void like a meteor. "Get lost!" The Black Wolf clan expert roared and quickly counterattacked. His palm hit the void, making a sonorous sound. Countless voids were shattered again. The Black Wolf Clan expert was forced back, and his palm was pierced with a bloody hole. "Go to hell!" He roared, and the surrounding mountains shook. Everyone else was shocked. It seemed that he was really angry. As expected, the saint of the Black Wolf Clan displayed an extremely terrifying, remarkable powers. He relied on his powerful physique and unparalleled speed to fight directly. However, the man from the Gu clan was not to be trifled with. He appeared and disappeared mysteriously, constantly jumping through the void and dodging all the attacks. The battle between the two was extremely terrifying. In the end, the man from the Gu clan won and directly banished the Black Wolf clan into the void. This scene shocked everyone. Banishing into the void, what kind of method was that? One had to know that the Black Wolf clan was also a terrifying saint. It wouldn't be a problem for them to come out of the void. But now the other party didn't come out. This meant that that person had been banished to an extremely terrifying starry sky. Who else was not convinced? The middle-aged man looked around disdainfully. Chapter 3471. Now, it was no longer just a matter of the Shadowless clan, but also the rise of the Gu clan. Therefore, he would not hold back. Next, the people of the Tianhe clan and the 4 pavilions attacked one after another. But in the end, they were all swallowed by space, and their whereabouts were unknown. This scene made the people of the Gu clan laugh. The people of the Shadowless clan were also excited. Great, there was finally hope on their side. However, the people of the 5 great clans frowned. Damn it! How could this person from the Gu clan be so strong? Don't panic, he should be the strongest one this time. Defeating him should not be a problem. In that case, let me do it. A person from the 10,000 Snake Valley walked out. He was also an expert from the 5 great clans, but when he stepped out, he did not immediately attack. Instead, he looked in all directions. This was a strong enemy, and he had defeated many experts. If I can defeat him, then when the Shadowless clan's benefits are distributed, the 10,000 Snake Valley will get a bigger share. When these words came out, the expressions of the other 4 great clans changed. But the 2 overlords nodded. Good. Then many thanks to the 2 overlords. The expert from the 10,000 Snake Valley laughed. The faces of the other great clans were gloomy, but there was nothing they could do, because the other party's space ability was really too terrifying. It came and went like a ghost, and they were not a match at all. They did not know what this old man from the 10,000 Snake Valley had to be so confident. Could it be that he could block the space ability? Would third uncle have a problem? Gu Santong's eyes flickered, and he was a little worried, because the other party was too confident. Hua Feiyu became nervous, and Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. A second heaven sage? No wonder he was so confident. Although the middle-aged man from the Gu clan was powerful, he was only a first heaven sage. The difference in cultivation between the 2 sides was a little too big. Would he be able to win? Lin Xian thought in his heart, but he did not care too much, because he knew that the final trump card was not the Gu clan's third uncle, but him. He was the biggest trump card. The Gu clan's third uncle felt the terrifying aura from the other party, as well as the terrifying Tao patterns between heaven and earth. He was also incomparably fierce. His entire being had completely merged with the void. Haha, it's useless. My cultivation level is 1 heaven above yours. You're not my match at all. Although your spatial divine ability is very terrifying, it can't do anything to me. The sage of the 10,000 Snake Valley was very confident. On the other side, the third uncle of the Gu family had already made his move. The void finger brought with it an extremely strange aura. It merged into the void and charged over quickly. The 10,000 Snake Valley saint sneered. At the same time, the lower half of his body turned into a snake's tail, which swept out. There were countless Tao runes on it that could pierce through the void. Boom! Boom! Another earth-shattering battle erupted, causing everyone's hearts to beat wildly. Heavens, Are they from the remote antiquity families? It was too scary. A first heaven sage was actually able to contend with a second heaven sage. The surrounding people were all stunned. One had to know that the gap between the sage level was extremely huge. A second heaven sage could easily crush a first heaven sage. But now, this saint of the Gu family was actually able to fight against those of a higher level. This was truly beyond everyone's expectations, as expected of a spatial divine ability. If it weren't for those spatial techniques, this Gu family member would have been defeated long ago. Many people were discussing it. Their expressions were extremely solemn. It was indeed so. This elder of the 10,000 Snake Valley was a second heaven sage. A casual attack was extremely terrifying. However, the countless black holes and large cracks in the sky were able to devour these attacks. Great Void Exile. After 100 moves, the third uncle of the Gu family suddenly roared and activated his bloodline power. He tore with both hands, and an extremely terrifying spatial crack appeared. In an instant, it swallowed the sage of the 10,000 Snake Valley. Up above, the large spatial crack slowly disappeared. Everyone was stunned. Heavens, with the saints of the second heaven banished as well. They couldn't believe it, especially those from the 10,000 Snake Valley. Their expressions were extremely ugly. Damn it, how did this happen? They roared. Boom! At this moment, the void shattered and a figure escaped. It was the elder of the 10,000 Snake Valley. Great, he's out. The surrounding people heaved a sigh of relief. On the other hand, those from the Gu family revealed extremely solemn expressions. The same went for the third uncle of the Gu family. He frowned. Did he escape? The difference in cultivation realm is indeed too great. However, he wasn't afraid. Do you still want to fight? If I can exile you once, I can do it a second time, a third time, until I don't have the strength to return. The third uncle of the Gu family was extremely domineering. Hearing this, the sage of the 10,000 Snake Valley had an extremely ugly expression. Damn it, this is infuriating. There had never been a first heaven sage who was so arrogant in front of them. However, the other party's methods had indeed frightened him. If it weren't for his powerful cultivation, he really wouldn't have been able to return. Therefore, for a moment, he hesitated and didn't immediately make a move. All right, you guys from the 10,000 Snake Valley, back off. I'll do it myself. At this moment, a sage of the Devouring Sky Palace stood up. He was also a second heaven sage. However, his strength was slightly stronger than the sage of the 10,000 Snake Valley. Seeing this, the 10,000 Snake Valley's sage retreated. The other first-rate families all sucked in a breath of cold air. Is the Devouring Sky Palace going to do it themselves? The faces of the Gu family and the Shadowless family changed. The Devouring Sky Palace was the top family. This time, they would definitely be even more terrifying. The sage of the Devouring Sky Palace walked out and looked at the third uncle of the Gu family. The 4 families of the ancients aren't bad. You're very strong. However, your cultivation is too low. You're no match for me. I'll give you a chance. Take your Gu family members and leave immediately. I can let bygones be bygones. This matter has nothing to do with you. If you continue to tangle with the Shadowless family, don't blame the Devouring Sky Palace for being impolite. I'll wipe out your entire family. At this point, an extremely terrifying killing intent was emitted from his body. The 9 heavens and 10 earths were shaking. The people around felt their scalps go numb. It was too terrifying. They knew that if the Gu family didn't know what was good for them, they would really be finished. Humph. The third uncle of the Gu family snorted coldly. His figure was tall and straight. His body flickered as if he didn't exist. However, his eyes shone with unparalleled brilliance. As a saint of a clan of the ancients, he had never backed down. Why? Do you want to continue fighting with me? You don't know what's good for you. Since that's the case, I can't let you live. The sage of the Devouring Sky Palace had an extremely terrifying, killing intent in his eyes. He stretched out a hand and grabbed forward. His palm was extremely black and instantly turned into a black hole. The black Tao runes within it were extremely terrifying. It made people's scalps go numb. Chapter 3472. Everyone shrunk their necks in fear and retreated far away. Hua Feiyu and the rest also kept retreating. Gu Clan's third uncle was also on high alert. The opponent was too strong. He was even stronger than the sage from Thousand Snake Valley. The sage from Thousand Snake Valley was at the early stage of the second heaven. However, the one who attacked was at the middle stage of the second heaven. However, he would not retreat. He roared. He immediately used his most terrifying divine ability, Great Void Banishment. The terrifying Great Void was right in front of him. It's useless. You can't banish me. The sage from Devouring Sky Palace was very strong. More black holes appeared on his body. They could devour everything. As expected, the power of space collided with the black holes. Everyone exclaimed. He blocked it? Not good. The expressions of the people from the Gu clan also changed. A single person could defeat 10 people with brute force. Although their divine abilities were powerful, especially spatial techniques, and could defeat enemies stronger than them, there was still a limit to it. They could not surpass their level indefinitely. Clearly, the Devouring Sky Saint in front of them had exceeded Gu clan's third uncle's fighting range. Therefore, he could not banish him at all. Everything was over. The Devouring Sky Palace Saint's lips curled into a cold smile. His body suddenly turned into a black hole. Then he disappeared into the void. In the next moment, he appeared out of thin air. The pitch-black vortex enveloped Gu clan's third uncle. Gu clan's third uncle completely merged into the void and used his spatial divine ability to escape. However, his strength was suppressed. This black vortex was too terrifying. It covered the 9 heavens and 10 lands. It forcefully shook Gu clan's third uncle out of the void. Gu clan's third uncle's body swayed, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was pressed to the ground by the black vortex and could not move. I've given you a chance. However, you did not cherish it. Don't blame me for being merciless. A terrifying sound came from the black vortex. The vortex seemed to have turned into a black vortex. It spun continuously and wanted to cut the Gu clan sage in half. Not good. Gu Santong's face changed. The Gu clan's elders also instantly attacked, wanting to save Gu clan's third uncle. 2 great void palms and void fingers appeared out of thin air and attacked the black vortex. The black vortex not only completely swallowed the 3 attacks, but it also forced the 3 elders back. The 3 elders vomited blood. On the other hand, the sage of Devouring Sky Hall burst out laughing. What clan of the ancients? They were nothing in front of absolute power. Today, all of you will die. His killing intent swept across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. It's over. The faces of the Gu family members turned extremely ugly. The members of the Shadowless clan were also filled with despair. Was today really the day they died? In the surroundings, the people of the 2 great dominators and the 5 great clans smirked coldly. As expected, although the Gu family was powerful, they were unable to resist in the face of absolute power. Today, the Shadowless clan would be destroyed without a doubt. Sigh. Right at this critical moment, a sigh was heard. Then a golden palm reached out. The void trembled. The golden palm was like a sun, shining brightly as it lashed out at the black vortex. The black vortex was sent flying. With a boom, the world in all directions was shattered. The terrifying power made everyone tense up and almost kneel on the ground. The surrounding people were scared silly. What did they see? The saint of the Devouring Heaven shop was sent flying by someone? Heavens, who is it? Who can fight against the saint of Devouring Sky Hall? Does the Gu family have any other experts? At this moment, they were all going crazy. Countless screams were heard as everyone looked forward. In the next moment, they were stunned. They saw a young man walk out from beside Hua Feiyu. His body was shining brightly. The golden palm was sent out by him. Is he also from the Gu family? He's too young. They were stunned. The people of Devouring Sky Hall also frowned, looking very unhappy. The heaven-devouring saint roared in the sky. He materialized from the black vortex and stared ahead with a pair of cold eyes. How dare you hurt me? Go to hell. The murderous aura on his body was too terrifying. It turned into 81 black holes and swept forward. Not good. Hua, Feiyu, Gu Santong, and the others' faces completely changed. Lin Xian said, "All of you step back." As he said that, he took a step forward. Light shone brightly as he activated his divine body, making him look like a peerless god of war. With a roar, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shook. The 2 golden palms continued to expand until they covered the entire sky. They shrouded all 81 black vortexes. Then he clenched his fist. Crack, 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 crack. Countless cracks appeared in the void. They were caused by the absolute power. The 81 black holes were also shattered by this power. Who is this person? This power was too frightening. The surrounding people were all dumbfounded. How terrifying is this? The saint of Devouring Sky Hall's face also changed. He seemed to have met a peerless enemy. In the next moment, his pupils suddenly shrank to the size of needles. This was because he saw a golden figure of a war god rushing towards him. In an instant, it tore through countless voids and arrived in front of him. At the same time, a golden fist came crashing down on him. It was like a golden dragon. Ah! Saint Devouring Sky Hall roared and reached out with his 2 large palms. They turned into 2 black holes and grabbed forward, trying to devour the golden fist. However, in an instant he screamed in pain. His 2 black vortexes were shattered and his palms exploded. Blood instantly dyed the sky red. His entire body was sent flying backward, and many cracks appeared on his body. The one who attacked was naturally Lin Xian. He waved his hand and followed up with another attack. He stomped his foot and swept out with his right leg. It was like a sharp knife that ruthlessly lashed out at his opponent's body. He kicked his opponent away. With a boom, the mountain range in the distance collapsed, and countless large cracks spread out. Ah! A crazy roar sounded. A figure rushed out of the ruins in front of him. It was Saint Devouring Sky. He reached out with both hands, grabbed the 2 mountain peaks beside him, pulled them up and swung them at Lin Xian. The 2 mountain peaks were tens of thousands of feet tall. At this moment, they were used as weapons and danced in the sky. In the face of such a powerful attack, Lin Xian did not dodge at all. He charged forward. He pierced through the 2 mountains and arrived in front of his opponent. He stomped his opponent to the ground again. Boom! 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 The entire ancient land of Thunder Mountain was shaking. Countless storms were surging. Everyone was scared out of their wits. As for the people of Devouring Sky Hall, their expressions changed drastically. They all rose into the air and stared into the distance. In the sky, countless large black holes were bobbing up and down, swallowing everything. Then, the scene in front of them appeared. In the next moment, they gasped. The other first-rate families were also stunned. Even the Gu family and the Shadowless family were dumbfounded. Saint Devouring Sky was being trampled under someone's foot. Chapter 3473. That person was valiant, like a peerless god of war. This is the young man beside Hua Feiyu. They finally recognized him. When Hua Feiyu came, there were 2 young men standing beside him. One was Gu Santong, and they did not know who the other was. But thinking about it, it should be someone from the Shadowless clan. He should be a prodigy, but they did not take him seriously at all. Even Hua Feiyu, the clan leader, was not worthy of their attention, let alone others. Therefore, they took the initiative to ignore Lin Xian. But now, it seemed that they were completely wrong. The most powerful one was not the Gu clan's third uncle, but the young man in front of them. The other party's power was too terrifying. It swept through everything, and even a saint in the middle of the second heaven could not withstand it. What kind of physique was this, and who is this person? For a moment they were extremely shocked. Who are you? Who exactly are you? The devouring heaven sage was being stepped on, and he roared madly. Even now, he still couldn't believe that he had been defeated by someone. Why? Do you still want to know who I am? If you beat me, I'll tell you. As Lin Xian said, he exerted force with his foot again. He stepped on the other party's bones, making creaking sounds. Damn kid, let him go. The experts of the devouring heaven palace roared madly. They really could not imagine that their saint would be defeated by the other party. And now he was being stepped on. This was a slap to their faces. Let him go? Let him go just because you said so? Lin Xian snorted coldly and directly flicked out 3 dragon-shaped sword chi. One pierced the other party's heart, one pierced the other party's head, and the last one pierced the other party's abdomen. Then the 5 elemental laws turned into divine chains, hanging the other party in midair. Damn it, how dare you! Seeing this scene, the people of the devouring heaven palace were furious. The others were also so scared that their scalps went numb. Who was this person? His methods were so decisive. He was going against the devouring heaven palace. Why? Are you very angry? Are you very sullen? Do you want to kill me? That's right, remember this feeling. When you were here, talking about dividing up the Shadowless clan, did you think about their feelings? I can tell you that their feelings are the same as yours. Now, do you understand? Damn brat, who the hell are you? You actually want to stand up for the Shadowless family? Stand up for the Wuyin clan? Lin Xian smiled. You're wrong. I'm not standing up for the Shadowless family, but protecting what belongs to me. The Shadowless clan is mine. I won't allow anyone to touch it. What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. The Shadowless clan belonged to the other party? Damn it. Could it be that the other party had also swallowed up the Shadowless clan? Which power do you belong to? This time around, it was not only the people from the sky-devouring palace that spoke. The people from the Liuhua palace also spoke out. They could not tolerate the Shadowless family falling into the hands of the other party. The people from the 5 first-rate clans also became nervous. Lin Xian ignored them and said coldly, I'll give you all a chance to scram and disappear from my sight. I can spare your lives. Otherwise, if you dare to have any ideas about the Shadowless clan again, I'll slaughter all of you. Brat, you're too reckless. Do you think you can swallow the entire Shadowless clan by yourself? You're really courting death. Have you asked the 2 overlords and the 5 first-rate clans? The people from the sky-devouring palace looked cold. It was no longer a matter of slapping their faces. This involved their interests. Sure enough, the people from the Liuhua palace looked gloomy. The people from the 5 first-rate clans also looked cold. With so many forces joining hands, could they not take down the other party? Just with you guys? Lin Xian sneered. Whether it's a group attack or a one-on-one fight, I'll take it all on. As long as someone can defeat me, I'll give the Shadowless clan to you. Arrogant, he's too arrogant. The people from the Gu clan and Wuyin clan were shocked. Is this Lin Wudi? He's really strong. As for the 2 overlords and the 5 first-rate clans, their faces turned gloomy. Damn it, the other party is just one person. So what if he's strong? The people from the Tianhe clan gritted their teeth and said, Let's go together and fight out with him. I don't believe that he can stop us. Yes, that's right. Let's go together. The people from the Thousand Snake Valley and the 4 pavilions also agreed. The people from the sky-devouring palace and the Liuhua palace sneered. They had an absolute advantage, so they wouldn't fight one-on-one with the other party. All right, let's all attack together. Let's all use our strongest attacks and scatter this brat soul. I don't believe that he can stop us. Those people surrounded Lin Xian. Not good. Gu Santong and the others' faces changed. They didn't expect these experts to be so despicable. Lin Xian smiled. They're really shameless. Do you think I'm not prepared? Come on, let's do it. Let the whole world see the ugly faces of the 5 great clans and the 2 hegemons. What does the whole world mean? The people from the sky-devouring palace frowned. Lin Xian said, It's simple. I've already set up a few arrays to spread the news of the Thunder Mountain ancient land. As long as you guys attack together, the whole world will see it. It will even spread to the other realms. At that time, I'll see how you guys are going to hide your faces. What? They were stunned when they heard this. To be honest, although their methods were vicious, they still wanted to save face. After all, they were the overlords of the 5 first-rate families. It was definitely embarrassing for so many experts to gang up on a young man. Moreover, it might even spread to the other realms. If that happened, their faces would be completely disgraced. At this moment, Lin Xian spoke again. My sect will also be able to see this array formation. My sect told me about it when I came out. If it's one-on-one, they won't care. But if anyone dares to attack together, my sect will quickly destroy them. You guys better think carefully. My sect has a frightening background. Hearing this, the people from the sky-devouring palace frowned. Damn it, this young man is so terrifying. He must be from a terrifying force. If they really ganged up on him and the news spread, his sect would probably go crazy. At that time, they might really be in trouble. But if it was a one-on-one battle, it might not be so. This kind of one-on-one battle was very common in the other realms. If one died, it was because one's own strength was not enough. Thinking about it, the other party's sect would not have the face to take revenge. Thinking of this, they all sneered. A one-on-one battle? Do you think you can survive a one-on-one battle? Kid, you're too reckless. Fine. Today I let you experience the absolute strength of our great Yen planet. The powerhouses from the sky-devouring palace smiled. One of them said, Who's going first? Don't worry, we won't treat you badly. Whoever goes first will get a bigger share of the Shadowless family's benefits. As soon as these words were said, the people from the 5 families were tempted. They still had some powerhouses in their hands. Chapter 3474. Let me do it. An elite from the Black Wolf clan walked out, causing everyone's expression to change. Because it was the leader of the Black Wolf clan. Damn it, the Black Wolf clan beat us to it. The people from the Tianhe clan and the 4 Directions Pavilion were shocked. They were prepared to take action, personally, but they were still a step too late. The leader of the Black Wolf clan walked out, emitting a terrifying demonic aura that swept out in all directions. This caused the Shadowless clan to retreat. Boom! The Gu clan's 3rd uncle also retreated to the back. Gu Santong asked, "Third uncle, are you all right?" The Gu clan's 3rd uncle shook his head. He was fine, but the situation was not optimistic. Although Lin Xian's performance was shocking, he knew that there were still some elites who had not shown their skills yet. If those elites attacked, would Lin Xian be able to withstand them? Even if he could withstand one of them, would he be able to withstand 5 or 6 of them? He did not dare to imagine. Buzz! The leader of the Black Wolf clan moved. He stretched out a black finger and pointed at Lin Xian. The finger collapsed the void, as if it had traveled through time and space, and it carried a terrifying demonic aura. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly, and an unparalleled light burst out from his eyes. The golden hand stretched out and tore through the void, as if an ancient god of war was attacking. Boom! 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 The golden hand grabbed the black finger and swung it forcefully. There was a crack, and the sound of bones breaking was like thunder. The black finger was broken, and blood flowed out wildly, piercing through the void. A miserable cry was heard. The leader of the Black Wolf clan screamed and retreated. His entire arm was trembling. The surrounding elites were also shocked, and their mouths were wide open in disbelief. The leader of the Black Wolf clan was injured. This was unbelievable. One had to know that he was a second heaven sage, and he was even stronger than the sage from the devouring sky hall. Moreover, he was the leader of the clan. How terrifying was he? But now he was actually injured in a single move. Just who was his opponent? Wasn't he too strong? Trash! How dare you steal from the Shadowless clan? Kneel down and accept your death. Lin Xian sneered. Damn it, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to tear you to shreds. The patriarch of the Black Wolf tribe roared crazily. He rushed over again, turning into a black shadow that tore through everything. He was mad with anger. He was the chief of the Black Wolf clan. How terrifying was that? He had roamed the Grand Spill Planet for so many years, but he had never been humiliated like today. Other than the two overlords, he had never been afraid of anyone. But now, an unfamiliar young man had actually injured him with a raise of his hand. This was no longer a slap to his face. He was so ashamed that he couldn't show his face. The terrifying black storm was like a heavenly blade, slicing through the void and sweeping towards Lin Xian. This attack was enough to shatter Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian sneered. In the face of such a terrifying attack, he didn't dodge at all. Instead, he pushed his divine body to the extreme. Those black storms crashed into his body, making earth-shattering noises. His body only swayed a little, emitting crackling noises. However, it did not shatter. Instead, it rushed forward. The surrounding people were so scared that their scalps went numb. What kind of physique was this? It was too terrifying. Lin Xian raised his hand and slashed out with the swords of laws. The terrifying 5-element swords brought with them a terrifying power as they fell from the sky. One after another, they continued to fall. The Black Wolf tribe's patriarch fought back. He was beaten until his entire body trembled, and many cracks appeared on his body. He was about to vomit blood from anger. Damn it, this young man was too strong. This young man was too strong. Before this, he had been swaggering around, looking down on this young man, thinking that he was an ant. He could suppress him in an instant. But now, he had been forcefully slapped in the face by this young man. He wished he could find a hole to crawl into right now. The Black Wolf tribe's patriarch? You don't even have the qualifications to be arrogant in front of me. Lin Xian sneered. The Black Wolf tribe's patriarch was so angry that he vomited blood. The power of his bloodline erupted, making him seem like a peerless monster. The surrounding great Tao rumbled. Terrifying laws danced between the heavens and earth. Black storm, boundless aura. With a crazy roar, the 9 heavens and 10 lands were shaking. One after another, black airflows descended from the sky. These black airflows had Tao runes. They were like huge mountains hanging upside down from the sky. Countless voids were trembling, forming a cage that enveloped Lin Xian. This was the Black Wolf tribe's unique skill. It was too terrifying. In an instant, the surrounding experts and saints trembled. They knew that a second heaven cultivator would be killed instantly in the face of such an attack. This young man was definitely dead this time. The Black Wolf tribe's warriors roared crazily. They had full confidence in their patriarch. Lin Xian snorted. The dragon soul in his body roared. He formed a seal with his palms, and the 5-element law quickly appeared in his hands. A wolf head appeared in his hands, emitting an unparalleled light as if it was a peerless, immortal light. The wolf head roared, and the 9 heavens and 10 lands trembled. The sky was shaking. Everyone around was stunned. A wolf head? Damn it, who was he? Why did he condense a wolf head? Some others twitched the corners of their mouths. This was a provocation. The Black Wolf tribe was a branch of the Wolf tribe, and the other party had used a great skill to condense a wolf head. This was definitely a slap in the face. Damn it, go to hell. Sure enough, the Black Wolf tribe's experts, were furious. The other party had all kinds of skills, but he just had to transform into a wolf. This was a provocation. He couldn't stand it, so he roared crazily. As the palm fell, the black mountains in the sky kept falling. The entire space was completely destroyed. The ancient land of Thunder Mountain also shook violently. Roar! Lin Xian roared. With the wolf head attached to his fist, he also punched out. This punch was unstoppable. It was like a divine being. It directly shattered all the mountains. It hit the patriarch of the Black Wolf tribe, and his body exploded. Boom! The patriarch of the Black Wolf tribe was smashed into pieces and retreated. Behind him, a huge black hole was completely formed. Defeated, the patriarch of the Black Wolf tribe was smashed into pieces. This was unbelievable. You can't compete with me. You're still too far away. Let's find someone else. Lin Xian put his hands behind his back, and his eyes were filled with endless domineering aura. The people from the 5 first-rate families and the 2 overlords were all stunned. This person was too terrifying. Even the patriarch of the Black Wolf tribe was no match for him. Damn it, damn it! The patriarch of the Black Wolf tribe reassembled his body. He was so angry that smoke was coming out of his body. He rushed over again. However, after 3 moves, he was defeated again. Everyone had gone crazy. They knew that the patriarch of the Black Wolf tribe was no match for the other party. The patriarch of the Black Wolf tribe did not dare to attack again. After being defeated 3 times, his vitality was greatly damaged. He was afraid that he would be completely killed by the other party. Who else? Lin Xian looked around disdainfully. Chapter 3475. Those weaker sages all lowered their heads, not daring to look him in the eye. Let me do it. The patriarch of the Tianhe clan walked out. He immediately used his ultimate technique, Heaven and Earth 6 directions. A disc appeared on his body. There were unparalleled Tao patterns on it, making him look like a Buddha. Ha! With a cold shout, the mountains collapsed and the void shattered. The surrounding people fell to the ground from the shock and kept rolling on the ground. It was a sound wave attack, and it was an extremely terrifying divine wave. Lin Xian also suffered a violent impact in an instant. Not only his body, but also his soul was about to be torn into pieces. Haha, that kid is dead for sure. Yes, our patriarch used the Heaven and Earth 6 directions divine art. He definitely won't be able to block it. The people of the Tianhe clan all laughed. As long as their patriarch killed the other party, then they would have a much higher share of the spoils. Heaven and Earth 6 directions divine art was just SOSO. Break for me. Lin Xian let out a long roar, and his body shone brightly. At the same time, he let out a cold shout. His voice was like a dragon's roar, resounding through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The void within 1,000,000 miles was completely shattered, and the ancient land of Thunder Mountain was also shaking nonstop. It was almost pierced through. The Heaven and Earth 6 directions divine art was instantly impacted and sent flying. Ah! The patriarch of the Tianhe clan was bleeding from his ears, and his 7 orifices were shattered. His entire body fell to the ground. He was seriously injured in one blow. What? Patriarch! The surrounding people went crazy. The people of the Tianhe clan roared crazily. Their patriarch had already fainted at this moment. Everyone was about to go crazy. Another clan leader had been defeated, and it was an instant defeat. This was simply unbelievable. Who else? Lin Xian asked coldly. The powerhouses of the 5 first-rate families all felt their scalps go numb. 2 patriarchs had already been defeated. The other 3 patriarch strength was about the same unless they attacked together. No one was a match for the other party in a one-on-one battle. Therefore, they looked at the 2 overlords. The 2 overlords' expressions were incomparably cold. The other party's strength was beyond their imagination. Ordinary elders and sages had no chance of winning. It seemed that they could only make a move personally. Interesting. I didn't expect to encounter something like this. I haven't fought for a long time. A figure from the Liuhua Palace walked over. He brought forth a monstrous flame. Immediately, everyone's hearts beat wildly. The palace master of Liuhua Palace. Heavens, is this overlord finally going to make his move? The experts from the 5 first-rate families felt their scalps go numb. The faces of the Shadowless clan and the Gu family also turned ugly. This was a saint in the late stage of the 2nd celestial layer, not far from the 3rd celestial layer. His strength was extremely terrifying. As soon as the overlord appeared, he suppressed the patriarchs of the 5 great clans to the point that they had to lower their heads. One could imagine how terrifying he was. That Brett definitely wouldn't survive. That's for sure. This time, it's an overlord who's making a move. I don't believe that he'll be able to survive. Kid, you're not bad, but you have no chance of winning against me. I'll give you a chance to live. Scram, or you'll definitely die. It's too early to say that. A mere saint of the 2nd heaven is nothing in my eyes. Lin Xian snorted coldly. So what if he was a saint in the late stage of the 2nd heaven? Since that was the case, there was no need for him to exist. The Liuhua Palace lord snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, the law of fire on his body danced, and a pair of flaming divine wings appeared on his back. The flaming wings brought about a powerful storm. Like 2 flaming divine swords, they slashed forward. Such a slash was more than enough to split any clan leader in half. It's over. I wonder if Brother Lin can block it. Gu Santong and the others were extremely nervous. They didn't expect the 2 overlords to be so terrifying. In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian didn't move at all. His body shone brightly like a god of war. He stretched out his finger and drew a circle in the air. Star's transposition. A mysterious force emerged. The 2 flaming divine swords were flipped and slashed at each other in an even more terrifying manner. Boom! 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 The void shattered and flames filled the sky. It was a scene of apocalypse. The Liuhua Palace saint's pupils shrank. An unparalleled light burst out from his eyes, and a flaming meteor shot out from his body. It directly collided with the 2 divine swords. An earth-shattering explosion of energy. The battle swept in all directions. Everyone retreated. The Liuhua Palace lord attacked wildly, wanting to kill Lin Xian. All kinds of laws, mystiques, and sacred domains danced in the sky. It was too terrifying. The experts of the 5 great families were watching. Even the patriarchs were shocked. They thought that they were strong enough. But compared to the 2 overlords, they were still too weak. Boom! 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 Lin Xian used the Kuan Peng movement technique and shuttled through the countless attacks. His body blocked everything. His hands danced, and the star's transposition was used by him. It had a mysterious power. All the power was diverted away by him. One hand turned, and the other hand was like a golden dragon, constantly attacking in all directions. The 2 of them exchanged more than 100 blows. The sky fell and the earth cracked. Fortunately, this was the Thunder Mountain ancient land. If it were any other place, tens of millions of miles would have been destroyed. But even if it was the ancient land, the surrounding people were vomiting blood. The weaker ones had all fainted from the shock. How was it possible he could withstand 300 blows from the palace lord? The saints of the Liuhua Palace went crazy. That was their palace lord. No one below the 3rd heaven could stop him. Here, other than the devouring sky palace lord, no one else was a match for him. They couldn't even block a single blow. But now, the other party had exchanged more than 100 blows, and he wasn't at a disadvantage at all. Buzz! Flying fire meteor. The Liuhua Palace lord used a peerless mystique. Hundreds of millions of lights turned into meteors and fell from the sky. Every attack could tear a sage apart. Hundreds of millions of attacks made the entire world lose its luster. Not good, this is a fatal blow. Retreat quickly. The patriarchs of the 5 great families roared crazily and retreated. The faces of the Shadowless clan and Gu family became extremely ugly. They created large spatial cracks in front of them and swallowed the aftermath of the energy. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a cold light burst out from his eyes. At the same time he formed a seal with his hands, and endless power burst out. The 5 elements law condensed in his hands, forming an ancient diagram. It was tens of thousands of dragons, spiraling with an unparalleled aura. They roared in his hands, forming a diagram. The 10,000 dragons diagram. This was the illusion of an extreme weapon that he had created. At this moment, it carried a phenomenon of heaven and earth and bombarded the 9 heavens. Everyone went crazy. Even the Liuhua Palace Lord's expression changed. This aura. He was too shocked. The aura in the other party's hand made his hair stand on end. What was this thing? Boom! The 10,000 dragons diagram was pushed out, and hundreds of millions of meteors collided. An incomparably dazzling light erupted between heaven and earth. No one could see it. Their faces were filled with shock. That was because the Tao diagram that the other party had used terrified them. Gu Santong clenched his fists in excitement. Although he couldn't see, he knew that this was the great dragon sword soul. The great dragon sword soul that could evolve all things. He also knew that it was the extreme weapon of the dragon race, the 10,000 dragons diagram. Chapter 3476. After some time, the billions of rays of light were all shattered, and a dragon diagram floated above the Liuhua Palace, Lord's head. 10,000 dragons pierced through him. Defeated again. Everyone went crazy. First, the 5 clan leaders had failed, and now even the Liuhua Palace Lord had failed. That was a late-stage second heaven powerhouse. They were the top saints present, but even so, they couldn't do anything to the other party. They felt a sense of despair and helplessness. I admit defeat. The Liuhua Palace Lord said a few words with difficulty. He seemed to have aged a few thousand years in an instant. The 10,000 dragons diagram in front of him slowly disappeared. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body swayed, but he was supported by the cultivators behind him. I've lost. I can only rely on you now. The Liuhua Palace Lord looked at a middle-aged man in a black robe in the distance. Everyone's gaze was fixed on the other party, as he was the sky-devouring palace's palace master. He was another overlord. His strength was about the same as the Liuhua Palace Lord. The Liuhua Palace Lord had suffered a crushing defeat, and logically speaking, the devouring Sky Palace Lord was no match for him, but everyone had no choice. This was their last hope. The devouring Sky Palace also felt the pressure, and they were extremely nervous. Originally, they didn't care about such a person, but now the other party was too strong, and the 5 clan leaders and the Liuhua Palace Lord were defeated. Now, only the devouring Sky Palace was left. Would their palace Lord be able to withstand it? Palace Lord, why don't we stall for some time? I've already sent a message to the Supreme Elder, and he will probably come soon. At this moment, an elder of the devouring Sky Palace transmitted his voice. The devouring Sky Palace Lord nodded slightly, but he still stood up. I will stall for time, but I must take action in this battle. As an overlord, he had his own dignity and pride. Although the other party was very strong, and he might not be a match for him, he would still take action. Moreover, this time, he didn't think that he would be defeated, because he brought something with him. This thing was originally prepared to deal with the Liuhua Palace Lord, but he didn't expect it to come in handy now. Buzz! 81 black holes appeared behind the devouring Sky Palace Lord, and he was like a peerless demon king. Was he going to make a move? The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. They did not expect devouring Sky Palace Master to attack. That shouldn't be the case. The devouring Sky Palace Master and the Liuhua Palace Master had similar strength. Since the Liuhua Palace Master had been defeated, why would the Devouring Sky Palace Master still make a move? This was a very unwise choice. The 5 patriarchs frowned. The palace lord of the Flowing Splendor Palace was also surprised. Although they knew that the Devouring Sky Hall Master would make a move, they did not expect him to be so decisive. Could it be? He had an idea in his mind. In the next moment, his pupils shrank. Everyone was stunned. A beam of black light streaked across the sky, illuminating the heavens and exuding a terrifying saintly aura. It was a pagoda, a black pagoda. It was incomparably dark, as if it could swallow everything in the world. Sky-devouring tower. He actually brought the sky-devouring pagoda. Screams rang out one after another. The 5 patriarchs and the palace master of the Liuhua Palace sucked in a breath of cold air. Hua Feiyu's expression changed. Oh no, it's the sky-devouring tower. That was a saint artifact. He finally understood why the other party dared to come out and fight. It turned out that the other party had brought a saint artifact, and it was the most famous saint artifact of the Devouring Sky Hall. Kid, I admit that you're very strong. You actually managed to defeat the Liuhua Palace Master. But it's a pity that I brought a saint artifact, the sky-devouring tower. My strength is not something you can withstand. No matter how strong you are, can you withstand a saint artifact? The Devouring Sky Hall Master laughed. The experts of the Devouring Sky Hall all laughed. The 5 patriarchs heaved a sigh of relief. The palace master of the Liuhua Palace looked a little cold. He knew that the Devouring Sky Hall Master had won this battle, but when the rewards were distributed, the Liuhua Palace would probably be suppressed. But no matter what, there would be no exception to the outcome. The other party was undoubtedly looking down on them. A saint artifact? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. No wonder the other party was so confident. He had to admit that a saint with a saint artifact and a person without a saint artifact were 2 different states. They could not be compared at all. For example, the Devouring Sky Hall Master and the Liuhua Palace Master were evenly matched. Even if they fought, they would be evenly matched. But if the Devouring Sky Hall Master took out a saint artifact, he would easily defeat the Liuhua Palace Master. This was the power of a saint artifact. But this was a threat to the others. But he did not care. A saint artifact? He had one too. Boom! 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 The 81 black holes on the Devouring Sky Hall Master's body devoured everything. His entire body seemed to have turned into a black vortex. The Devouring Sky Tower in front of him bobbed up and down. It turned into a giant abyss and swallowed forward. Everywhere it passed, everything turned dark. The Devouring Sky Tower was said to be able to devour even the heavens, let alone a saint in the first heaven. That kid would definitely die. He would be swallowed by the Devouring Sky Tower. In less than half an hour, he would turn into a pool of blood and his body and soul would be destroyed. The Devouring Sky Hall Master was indeed powerful. He had even brought a treasure like the Devouring Sky Tower with him. Exclamations of admiration could be heard. The people of the Devouring Sky Hall and the 5 patriarchs were full of confidence. They knew that this battle was over. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. A cold light burst out from his eyes. In the next moment, he grabbed a black spear from the void and threw it forward. The black spear exuded an extremely terrifying aura. The other half of the sky turned completely dark. At the same time, an extremely terrifying dragon roar could be heard. Boom! 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 A bolt of black lightning struck the Devouring Sky Tower fiercely. It was as if hundreds of millions of lightning bolts had struck at the same time. The powerful force caused the saints' ears to bleed in an instant. They couldn't hear anything. Those who were weaker had their bodies explode. Damn it, what happened? Not good. Retreat quickly. At this moment, the saints had all gone crazy. They attacked one after another and defended themselves. The impact this time was too terrifying. It was as if two worlds were colliding. After an unknown period of time, the terrifying aura between heaven and earth slowly weakened. The surrounding people also looked up at the sky in bewilderment. They were stunned. In front of them, a black spear blocked the devouring sky tower. The devouring sky hall master's blood was boiling. Blood flowed from his body. On the other side, the youth was like a god of war. He blocked it. Damn it, he actually blocked the devouring sky tower. The 5 patriarchs were extremely shocked. Impossible. The Liuhua Palace master screamed. He knew the power of the devouring sky tower. He did not have any chance of winning. How could the other party block the devouring sky tower? The combination of the devouring sky hall master and the devouring sky tower was enough to fight against a third heaven saint. Could it be that the kid was a third heaven saint? Thinking of this possibility, the Liuhua Palace master felt that he was going crazy. Chapter 3477. Damn it, you also have a sacred weapon. At this moment, the devouring sky palace master spoke. His words were full of shock, because only a sacred weapon of the same level could block his devouring sky tower. What? A sacred weapon? It was a sacred weapon. The surrounding people were also shocked, and then stared at the black spear. The Liuhua Palace master was also surprised. It turned out to be a sacred weapon. The other party had a sacred weapon in his hand, and it looked like it was not inferior to the devouring sky tower at all. Where did this kid come from? Lin Xian said. Yes, that was right. This was a sacred weapon. So, you think you can compete with me just because you took out the devouring sky tower? You are overestimating yourself. Speaking of this, he waved his hand, and the great destruction spear turned into a black dragon with an unparalleled aura and charged directly at the devouring sky palace master. How dare you underestimate me? The devouring sky palace master roared, and the black hole on his body floated. But it could not block the other party's attack. Even with the devouring sky tower, he was instantly sent flying. If the devouring sky palace master had not protected his body, this attack would definitely have torn him apart. Boom, boom, boom. The great spear of destruction rumbled incessantly like giant dragons roaring in the sky. The devouring sky palace master was forced to retreat. The surrounding people were all stunned. What kind of combat strength was this? To directly crush the devouring sky palace master, it was simply too powerful. Damn it, let's fight it out with him. The Tianhe clan roared, and the eyes of the others were also red. At this time, they no longer cared about the array. Even if others saw it, so what? They must kill the other party. Otherwise, they would not be fated with the Shadowless clan. Charge! In an instant, many figures rushed up. Damn it, despicable! Shameless! Hua, Feiyu, Gu Santong, and the others roared crazily. However, there was nothing they could do. In front of such a great benefit, even if they were to lose face, they would accept it. Get lost! Lin Xian roared, waving the spear, and swept it down. At the same time, he used the stellar transposition to deflect the attack from the devouring sky palace master. His attack shifted to these people. In an instant, screams were heard. Lin Xian then summoned the hidden immortal pagoda. The void was torn apart as a celestial pagoda descended from the sky, sending the surrounding people flying. The others still wanted to attack, but they soon stopped. They realized that the saints who had rushed over had all been sent flying. Those with minor injuries vomited blood. Those who were injured directly turned into a bloody mist. What kind of scene was this? It really stunned them. Lin Xian held the annihilation spear and stood on the dragon head with a mortal pagoda hidden above his head. He was like a supreme immortal monarch as he roared to the 9 heavens. He sent the surrounding sages flying and then quickly charged towards the devouring heaven palace master. His chi and blood were like dragons, and a terrifying power erupted. The battle between the two shook the heavens and earth. Boom! Boom! After 30 moves, the hidden immortal pagoda knocked the sky-devouring pagoda away, and the great destruction spear pierced through the head of the sky-devouring palace master. His entire body was split into two. Blood dyed the sky red. Devouring sky palace master screamed miserably. The two halves of his corpse melted into the black hole. He wanted to recover and counterattack again. However, it was destroyed by Lin Xian with a punch. The black hole was smashed into pieces. Lin Xian was like a peerless god of war. The great destruction spear completely suppressed the sky-devouring palace master. The sky-devouring palace master could only use the sky-devouring pagoda to protect his body. He quickly roared, "Damn it, I admit defeat." "What, I lost?" The sky-devouring palace master lost. The surrounding people were full of despair. The sky-devouring palace master was their last hope. He was a late-stage second heaven saint. With a sacred weapon, he was definitely comparable to a third heaven saint. But even so, he couldn't defeat the other party. He was really too strong. Great, we won. The people of the Gu family all heaved a sigh of relief. The people of the Shadowless family all cheered. It seemed that the heavens didn't want the Shadowless family to die. Boom! However, at this moment, heaven and earth shattered, and a large palm descended from the sky. Suddenly, it grabbed at Lin Xian. It completely enveloped Lin Xian. That place turned into a void. It was pitch black. This strange scene caused everyone to stare blankly. Who is it? Did he make a move? The people of the Gu family and the Shadowless family were all stunned. Gu Santong and Hua Feiyu screamed. The experts of the Liuhe Palace and the 5 first-rate families were all stunned. They didn't know what had happened at all. Only the people of the sky-devouring palace laughed. It was the Supreme Elder. The Supreme Elder had made a move. What, the Supreme Elder? The Supreme Elder of the sky-devouring palace is here. After the others heard, their scalps went numb. That's a third heaven saint. If he makes a move, he can definitely suppress everything. They knew that the kid was hit directly. Even if he didn't die with the sacred weapon, he would be seriously injured. It was very likely that he would be completely annihilated because of his carelessness. In front, there was still a black hole which made everyone despair. On the other side, an old man walked out. He was the Supreme Elder of the Sky-Devouring Palace. Greetings, Supreme Elder. The experts of the Sky-Devouring Palace cheered. The Sky-Devouring Palace Lord also bowed slightly. Supreme Elder, you're here. Although he was the palace lord, the other party was a third heaven saint. His experience was 1 heaven higher than his. He had to treat him with respect. The Supreme Elder nodded slightly. The strong enemy has been killed, and we can divide the Shadowless family. Oh, right, he has a sacred weapon. When we find it, we'll give it to you. Thank you, Supreme Elder. The Sky-Devouring Palace Lord was delighted. The sky-devouring tower in his hand was a sacred weapon, but it didn't belong to him. It belonged to the sky-devouring palace. He just took it for his own use. Now it was different. He wanted to get a sacred weapon that belonged to him. In this way, his strength would definitely undergo an earth-shattering change. Thinking of this, the sky-devouring palace lord was extremely excited. You want my weapon? Do you have the life to take it? At this moment, a sneer came from the black hole in front. What, he's not dead yet? The sky-devouring palace lord's face changed, and the others were so scared that their scalps went numb. A third heaven saint hit him directly, and he's still not dead? This is unbelievable. Humph. The Supreme Elder also snorted coldly, and his face darkened. He once again threw out a few large black holes. They were like a demonic disc that destroyed the world. They kept spinning, trying to kill the people inside. Boom! Heaven and earth shattered, and in the endless black holes, a golden light lit up. Then, like the rising sun, it streaked across the sky, illuminating the entire sky. Then a figure rushed out from the black hole. It was Lin Xian. Kill! Lin Xian roared, and his voice shook the 9 heavens. His left hand drew the 10,000 dragons picture. In his right hand, the great destruction spear turned into a true dragon. Above his head, the hidden immortal pagoda descended again. The 3 peerless divine abilities continued to bombard him. The Supreme Elder in front also roared and struck out with a terrifying heaven-swallowing black, formless palm. Boom, boom, boom. An apocalyptic collision erupted once again. Chapter 3478. Both of them retreated. They were evenly matched. Everyone went crazy. The other party was actually able to fight evenly with a 3rd heaven sage. This was simply too unbelievable. Damn it. The 3rd heaven Supreme Elder roared angrily and took the sky-devouring tower. An indescribable aura erupted from his body. It could suppress all the worlds in the universe. It made everyone's scalps go numb. It's over. The Supreme Elder was really angry. With his strength and the sky-devouring tower, he was absolutely terrifying and surpassed everything. This time, even Lin Xian felt the danger. Indeed, the cultivation of a 3rd heaven saint was too high. If he had a sacred artifact, the power was unimaginable. Therefore, he had to make a move quickly. Thinking of this, he snorted coldly. Golden light flickered in his eyes. It formed a mysterious pattern. In the middle, a black flame jumped out and grew larger in the sky. Whoosh! Almost in an instant, the Supreme Elder of the Sky-Devouring Hall screamed. He had just grabbed the Sky-Devouring Tower. He wanted to make a peerless attack, but black flames appeared out of thin air on his body. Extinguish! At first he was disdainful. A black vortex appeared on his body, wanting to devour these flames. As a saint of the 3rd heaven, this little bit of flame could not hurt him. But soon he was stunned. Because of the black vortex, it could not destroy these flames at all. Instead, it was burned to pieces by these flames. More and more black flames appeared on his body. White smoke and the smell of flesh and blood all came out. He was driven mad in an instant. In an instant, he was rolling in the air in pain. He could not even hold the sky-devouring tower. What? The Supreme Elder. Everyone was stunned. They originally thought that the Supreme Elder would show his might and use the sacred artifact to sweep in all directions. But they did not expect to see this result. The Supreme Elder was burned to death by the black flames. He could not resist at all. Damn it, go and save the Supreme Elder. The 2 saints of the sky-devouring hall rushed over in an instant. They spat out seawater all over the sky, trying to extinguish the black flames. But it was useless. Instead, the 2 of them were burned to ashes in an instant by the black flames. This scene made everyone dumbfounded. 2 saints were instantly burned to death. What kind of flames were these? While they were in a daze, the utmost exalted elder was also burned to pieces. In the end, he completely disappeared, his body and soul destroyed. The black flames in the sky danced and then disappeared. Only a terrifying aura was left behind. Dead, the Grand Elder was actually dead. Everyone went crazy. They couldn't believe it. Previously, when the other party was fighting against the Liuhe Palace Master and the Sky-Devouring Hall Master, even though he was quite strong, he had still managed to exchange several hundred blows with them. All kinds of divine abilities were used, making them extremely shocked. But now, against the Supreme Elder, the other party had actually killed the Supreme Elder in 2 moves. Was this the true strength of the other party? They could hardly imagine it. The people of the Shadowless clan and the Gu clan were all stunned, especially Hua Feiyu. His body was trembling. This was the true strength of his master. He was really too strong. No wonder the other party dared to be so arrogant, fighting against 2 overlords and 5 first-rate clans alone. At this moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian with fear in their hearts. On the side, Fantasy looked at this scene and was also very surprised. As a guard, she was here to protect Lin Xian. When the utmost exalted elder came, she was ready to take action, because she knew that Lin Xian shouldn't be able to fight against him. But now, it was really too shocking for her. Lin Xian actually burned the utmost exalted elder to death. What kind of method was this? She had never seen that kind of black flame before. It seemed that her palace master was much more mysterious than she had imagined. Was he dead? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. He was also surprised. What he had just released was naturally the Yama flame. This was the flame that he had obtained from the reincarnation pearl. He had already gained initial control over it. At this moment, when he used it, it was really terrifying. As expected, the level 3 sage was instantly burned to death. Of course, Lin Xian's eyes were also faintly hurting now. Obviously, the power of this flame was too domineering. In addition, the effect was also surprisingly good. It killed a level 3 sage in an instant. Lin Xian looked around and said coldly, "Is there anyone else who wants to take action?" The scene was silent. No one dared to raise their heads. Even a level 3 sage was dead. They were not a match for him. At this moment, the Black Wolf Clan's clan leader said respectfully, "Young master is mighty. We are sincerely convinced. We don't dare to think about the Shadowless clan anymore. Young master, please let us go." "Yes, we are sincerely convinced. Young master, please let us go." The Tianhe clan, Square Pavilion, and the other first-rate clan's clan leaders lowered their heads. They no longer dared to go against Lin Xian. When the people of Liuhua Palace and Devouring Sky Palace saw this scene, their faces were filled with despair. In the end, the Liuhua Palace master and Devouring Sky Palace master sighed. The two of them said helplessly, "We are sincerely convinced too." Lin Xian ignored these people and stared at Devouring Sky Palace master. "Sincerely convinced? Forget it? You actually dared to send a level 3 sage to kill me. You will have to bear my wrath." As he said that, the great spear of destruction in his hand flew out and turned into countless dragons. In an instant, Devouring Sky Palace Master was sent flying. Devouring Sky Palace Master was pierced and screamed in the sky. That scene surprised everyone. They did not expect that the other party would still attack. The sages of Devouring Sky Palace were also angry. "Damn brat, don't be too arrogant. We have already lowered our heads. What else do you want? What else do you want?" Lin Xian sneered. "What do you think? You have already tried to kill me just now. Do you think I will let you go so easily?" When these words came out, everyone felt a chill in their hearts. Indeed, the Supreme Elder of Level 3 Heaven attacked. If the other party was weaker, he would have been killed long ago. Therefore, it was normal for the other party to be angry now. But thinking about it, Devouring Sky Palace would not sit still and wait for death. "Kill!" Devouring Sky Palace Master roared to the sky. "Damn it, fight it out with him. So what if he is strong? Let's attack together." At this moment, he could no longer care about anything else. He directly grabbed the Devouring Sky Tower and roared to the sky like a peerless demon king. Behind him, the sages and experts of Devouring Sky Palace also roared and stood out. Powerful sage aura crushed the sky. The people of Gu family and Shadowless family gasped. Next, there would definitely be an intense battle, and it would be a group attack. Once Devouring Sky Palace made a move, Liuhua Palace and the 5 first-rate families would definitely make a move too. At that time, it would not be so simple. Although Lin Xian was powerful, he would not be able to block the attacks of so many experts and sages. In that case, Lin Xian would not be able to take care of their safety. In this battle, perhaps all of them would fall here. "Why? You want to attack together?" Lin Xian sneered. "Dream, it's your turn." Chapter 3479. A figure dashed forward like a phantom. Soon, the people of the Devouring Sky Palace screamed in agony. Many experts and sages were split into pieces, and their blood dyed the sky red. What kind of scene was this? It was as if the entire Thunder Mountain ancient land had turned into hell in an instant. The people of the 5 first-rate families and the Liuhua Palace were all stunned. They originally thought that they would attack the people of the Devouring Sky Palace and take advantage of the chaos to kill them. But before they could do anything, they found that the people of the Devouring Sky Palace were mercilessly slaughtered. This made them so scared that they didn't dare to move for a while. Damn it! The master of the Devouring Sky Palace roared crazily and activated the sacred artifact. But he was soon sent flying, and his head was cut off. In the end, the master of the Devouring Sky Palace was blown up, and the other experts and sages of the Devouring Sky Palace were all killed. A figure appeared in the pool of blood in front of them. It was a woman wearing a veil. She was unusually beautiful and had a pair of translucent wings on her back. At this moment, they were stained with blood and emitted a demonic light. This scene made the surrounding experts' scalps almost burst open. They looked at this scene in horror. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. He looked at the Liuhua Palace and the 5 first-rate families. Do you want to fight too? No. The Liuhua Palace and the 5 first-rate families shook their heads crazily. They wouldn't dare to fight now, even if they were given 100 guts. Okay, I won't make things difficult for you. Hand over everything you have, and I'll let you go. Then Lin Xian asked Hua Feiyu to lead the people of the Shadowless clan to search there. He left all the storage rings, treasures, and weapons of the sages. Those people had their armors stripped off and left dejectedly one by one. Outside the valley, those people were still waiting excitedly. They wanted to see the results and see what exactly happened. Who do you think will get the lion's share of the Shadowless clan? Needless to say, it must be the 2 overlords. I think they will get half of the Shadowless clan's resources, and the other half will be divided by the 5 first-rate families. That's right, I think so too. Discussions broke out one after another. Suddenly, countless silhouettes rushed over from the Thunder Mountain ancient land. The people outside all became alert. Are they out? They were surprised. It was a bit fast, much faster than they had imagined. But in the next moment, they were all stunned when they saw those people. What the hell? What's going on? Why were these people's hair disheveled and their clothes disheveled? Could it be that there was a huge battle inside? However, that shouldn't be the case. After such a chaotic battle, they should be in pieces and covered in blood. From the looks of it, these people didn't seem to be seriously injured. There wasn't much blood on his body. But why did he look so miserable? F***CK, what are you looking at? If you keep looking, I'll dig your eyes out. A sage roared as his sage aura swept across the 9 heavens. The rest of the people retreated one after another. The saint's face was flushed red. He wanted nothing more than to find a hole to hide in. Not only that, his armor, boots, necklaces, earrings, and any magical equipment he had on him had all been looted. The others weren't any better than them. The surrounding people were pushed to the back, their faces filled with fear. Could it be the patriarch of the Tianhe clan? Oh my God, why is he dressed like a beggar? Look over there. There's the patriarch of the Black Wolf clan. He's the valley master of the Valley of Beasts. Why do they look like they've been robbed? Oh my God, what did I just see? The palace master of the Liuhua Palace has also been robbed. The people around them were going crazy. The 5 great clans and an overlord were in such a sorry state. Wait, where are the people from Devouring Sky Palace? They did not come out. Could it be that the people from Devouring Sky Palace did it? Oh my God, when did Devouring Sky Palace become so powerful? These people were bewildered. Devouring my ass. Get lost. Devouring Sky Palace has been completely destroyed. An elder in the square cursed. He no longer had the dignity of a sage. What? Devouring Sky Palace has been destroyed. Those words were like a bolt from the blue. stunning the people around them. In the next moment, they turned into a gust of wind and fled. Who knows what happened inside, but it must be very dangerous. Therefore, they had to run quickly. In an instant, the people around the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land had all run away. Inside the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land, the people of the Shadowless clan and the Goo clan looked at the piles of treasures in front of them and swallowed their saliva. This scene was like a dream. The two overlords and the 5 great clans had originally come to divide the Shadowless clan, but now they did not get any benefits at all. Instead, they were robbed. This was simply like a fantasy story. Lin Xian looked at the Goo clan and the Shadowless clan. He said, "Everyone, please protect me. I want to cultivate." Lin Xian was tempted by so many resources. In addition, the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land was indeed a good place. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to cultivate here. Yes, young master. Hua Feiyu quickly led the people to retreat. On the other side, Gu Santong also led the people of the Gu clan to retreat quickly. They completely protected the ancient land of the Thunder Mountain Range. Lin Xian sat on the ground and began to absorb the resources. Just like that, he began to cultivate again. On the other hand, the outside world was in chaos. The news of the Shadowless Conference finally spread. The 5 great clans and the 2 overlords suffered a great loss. Even the devouring Sky Palace Master and a group of elders were killed inside. They could not believe it. The devouring Sky Palace was furious. The other top clans were also gnashing their teeth. They had decided to take revenge. In an instant, experts from all over the world came out. They formed a team and set off for the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land. Soon, they had surrounded the ancient land of the Thunder Mountains. The people of the Shadowless clan and the Goo clan had ugly expressions. There were so many experts. They definitely could not deal with them. Meng Meng snorted coldly. No matter who it was, she would not allow these people to hurt Lin Xian. At this moment, He Shan also transmitted his voice. He imitated Lin Xian's tone and began to transmit his voice to Meng Meng. Meng Meng thought that Lin Xian knew about the situation outside and quickly took action. What He Shan transmitted to Meng Meng was a set of formations. A set of formations that used the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land to set up. Logically speaking, setting up a formation required a large amount of resources. It even needed to carve Dao patterns and change the terrain of the mountains and rivers. It even required the use of the dragon vein to form a supreme formation. What He Shan taught them this time was not to use the heavens and earth, but to use people. There were many people in the Shadowless clan and the Goo clan. These people were not the best, but they were all experts. As long as they used the mysteries of the formation to bring out the power of these people, they would be able to form an unexpected power. Chapter 3480. Indeed, under Dreamy's leadership, they formed a large array. The elites outside attacked several times, but they did not manage to break in. Half a year passed just like that. Both sides were still in a stalemate. On this day, Lin Xian opened his eyes. The resources in front of him had all disappeared. His aura had become even more powerful than before. However, he didn't feel much joy. Instead, he frowned slightly. Not enough. Just a little more. Just a little more, and he would be able to break through. Suddenly, he frowned and looked into the distance. What was the situation outside? Why were there so many people? Kid, you're awake. He Shan transmitted his voice. Not long after you left, those people came to take revenge. I gave them a set of arrays to hold them back. This situation has been going on for about half a year. Hearing this, Lin Xian rushed out. As expected, he found that the people outside seemed to be preparing to give chase and launch a new attack. He let out a roar and charged forward. His entire person turned into a peerless divine sword as he charged forward. In an instant, he rushed into the crowd. Everything that came into contact with his sword chi was sliced in half, and the sky was instantly dyed red. The people on the other side were furious. Damn it, who did this? They wanted to find the enemy, but Lin Xian's Kuan Peng Dao was too strong. Furthermore, at this moment he attacked with all his might. Truly, no one could stop him. In the Thunder Mountain ancient land, the Gu family and the Shadowless family were stunned. Originally, when they saw the new attack, they felt a chill in their hearts. Because this time, the other party's formation was even bigger than before. They might not be able to fight back, but they did not expect that when they were about to lose hope, the other party would make a move. Moreover, countless figures fell from the sky. Experts had made their move, and they were helping them. Who was it? They did not understand. At this moment, Gu Santong exclaimed. It was Brother Lin. Brother Lin had come out. Was the young master coming out? Hua Feiyu was also shocked. Then he heaved a sigh of relief. As long as his master was here, there was no danger. Damn it, it was him. It was that person. The 5 great families and the 2 overlords felt their scalps go numb. They realized that the person who came out was the one they were afraid of. That was a god of death. Damn it. The other party hadn't appeared for the past half a year, so they thought that something had happened to him. But today, the other party suddenly charged out. They were caught off guard. Quickly counterattack and kill him. We have more people, so we must kill him this time. The surrounding people roared crazily. They attacked like crazy, wanting to kill Lin Xian once and for all. Lin Xian roared in anger as he quickly attacked. With his left hand, he used stellar transposition to disrupt the energy of these people. With his right hand, he used the Great Destruction Spear to kill continuously. He was like a peerless god of death, attacking powerfully, piercing through the other party. A vacuum appeared in the sky, and countless corpses fell from the sky. The others were all scared out of their wits. Run quickly. They fled as if they had gone mad. They had never seen such a ferocious person before. Lin Xian snorted coldly and shattered the storage rings of the fallen sages. He gathered all the heavenly materials and earthly treasures around him. Then he absorbed like crazy. He had to increase his cultivation speed as quickly as possible. Finally, a thunderous boom could be heard as a bolt of lightning descended. His aura was like a dragon as it shot up into the heavens. He had broken through. Lin Xian smiled. He had broken through from the first heaven of the Saint Realm to the first heaven of the Saint Realm of the Saint Realm. However, the increase in strength was also very terrifying. Furthermore, his speed of improvement was extremely fast. It was something that other sages could not even begin to imagine. Of course, the other saints did not have such an intense battle. Not good. The other party broke through again. Run. Those who had fled into the distance were still waiting to regroup and counterattack. However, when they saw that Chu Feng had made a breakthrough, these people were scared out of their wits. The other party had not even broken through, but he was already so powerful. Now that he had broken through a small realm, his power would be even more terrifying. Therefore, these people all fled. Lin Xian let out a cold snort. Ignoring these people, he turned around and landed near the ancient land of the Thunder Mountains. Young master, you broke through. Hua Feiyu brought people over. On the other side, Gu Santong also brought people from the Gu family over to congratulate Brother Lin for making another breakthrough. Next, Lin Xian and his group left and returned to the Shadowless clan's territory. He had the Gu family move here and begin to rebuild their power. As for him, he brought Meng Meng and wandered between the 5 great families and the 2 overlords. He also issued a warning. Anyone who dared to make a move against the Shadowless clan and the Gu family would be hunted down endlessly. The 2 overlords were silent. The 5 great families did not dare to say anything. Just like that, the great Yen planet gradually settled down. The Shadowless clan and the Gu family once again joined forces and became a new power. Lin Xian left. He left behind an array formation and asked Hua Feiyu to send him resources regularly. Then he left the great Yen planet. Brother Gu, I look forward to the day when I can fight alongside you." At this time, Lin Xian and Gu Santong had a long talk. Gu Santong said, "Don't worry, Brother Lin. There will be a day when I will ascend the ancient star road again and look for you." After waving goodbye, Gu Santong went into seclusion to cultivate. Lin Xian stepped into the starry sky. In the cold universe, Lin Xian sat in a spirit boat and flew. He had gained a lot from this trip to the great Yen planet. He had met an old friend, learned about the secret of the Rinnegan, obtained the Yama flame, and his cultivation had increased by a small realm. He was very satisfied with all of this. Therefore, he was prepared to go back. He also wanted to see the situation on the Langya planet. How was it? Dragon Valley, 8 Wind Hall, and Seekong family? Had they left? When he arrived at the star field near the Langya planet, he frowned. Damn it, not only did the front line not relax, but the situation was even more urgent. The situation was even more strict than when he had left. Damn it, these guys still haven't given up. Lin Xian's face was incomparably cold. "Hall Master, should we break through?" Dreamy asked from the side. Lin Xian shook his head. No, he wouldn't go back first. They are so aggressive. Do they really think I'm easy to bully? Next, I'll give them a big gift. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He decided to ruthlessly suppress these people, especially the Vermilion Bird Palace and the Space-Time family. These 2 families had sent out too many people. It was obvious that they wouldn't give up until they found him. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to hold back. The spirit boat wandered in the nearby starry sky. Lin Xian didn't go directly. He activated the concealment array formation and then communicated with Black Mountain. "Black Mountain, do you have a way to severely injure them?" Chapter 3481. I do have some array formations here that can kill them, but it will take some time. Moreover, I also need some natural treasures. No problem, I have quite a lot of things on me. As for the terrain, tell me, and I'll find it for you. Lin Xian said. He had already decided that he would not let those people off. Therefore, no matter how difficult the conditions were, he would get it done. Black Mountain wanted to find a land of 8 dragons. In other words, the 8 dragon veins gathered together. Lin Xian began to search in the nearby world. Finally, he really found it. However, a few of the 8 dragon veins here had already been destroyed. Therefore, there were no powerful sects or families in this place, only some beasts. After Lin Xian descended, he chased away all these beasts. Black Mountain came out and began to transform these dragon veins. Then Lin Xian took out the natural treasures and various precious materials for Black Mountain to use. In the remaining 2 months, Black Mountain created the 8 Dragon Heavenlock Array. This was a peerless array formation that could only be activated once. It used the 8 dragon veins to kill. Even a 3rd Heaven Sage would perish here. After this time, the 8 dragon veins would not be able to be used for 100 years. Once was enough for Lin Xian. He wanted these people to have a painful experience. Next, Lin Xian asked Fantasy to spread some news, saying that she had seen his traces in the nearby world. Fantasy left. A few days later, the news spread out one after another. After the surrounding people learned about it, they were shocked and came to patrol. At this time, Lin Xian made his move, creating several clones. He began to appear in front of those people. The eyes of those people from Vermilion Bird Palace and 8 Wind Palace instantly turned red. It was that kid. They were extremely excited. After searching for so long, they finally found traces of him. Buzz, 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 these people chased after Lin Xian as if they had gone mad. However, Lin Xian's clone maintained the same speed as them. Once they entered the mountain range, Lin Xian's clone immediately turned into spiritual energy and dissipated into the air. These people were so angry that their teeth itched. They were unwilling to give up and searched around. In the following period of time, Lin Xian used his doppelganger to play a game of hide-and-seek with these people. Lin Xian continued to wait. He was waiting for these people to gather enough experts. After all, his 8-dragon heavenlock array could only be used once. If the person who came was too weak, it would be a waste. Half a month later, a large number of people landed in this world. These people were seething with killing intent. In the end, most of the people who came were from the Vermilion Bird Palace. Other than that, people from the Dragon Valley and the Dark Moon Temple also came. There were many people from the top 3 forces, including many saints. There are even level 3 saints among them. Lin Xian's face turned cold when he heard the news. Damn it, these people are too despicable. Sending so many sages to kill him was definitely a death sentence. But fortunately, he was already prepared. He was prepared to give these people a shocking gift. These people should be enough to make the major forces feel heartache. If there were more, the 8-dragon heavenlock array would probably not be able to withstand it. After all, these 8 dragon veins had been damaged before. He Shan said, "Okay, I got it." Lin Xian said, "I'll go out and lure these people over. Once they've completely entered, I'll activate the array." He left He Shan here and went out alone to meet those people. After a large number of experts and saints arrived, they began to search around. At this time, Lin Xian took the initiative to appear in front of a group of people. Immediately, crazy roars were heard. "Found it, it's that kid. Chase after him." The first to discover him were the people from the Dragon Valley. Their roars were like thunder as they quickly chased after the experts from the Dark Moon Temple and the Vermilion Bird Palace. They also charged over. Lin Xian used the Kuan Peng movement technique to keep a distance from these people. This allowed them to chase after him and not be in danger. Just like that, they arrived near the array. The array covered a large area, covering all 8 mountain ranges. After Lin Xian arrived, he did not run away. Instead, he turned around and looked ahead. In front of him, a dense crowd of people rushed over quickly. "Kid, you can't escape. Today, you'll definitely die. Hand over everything you have." The people from the Dark Moon Temple and the Dragon Valley were extremely excited. The people from the Vermilion Bird Palace gritted their teeth. Damn it, their genius, Yen Nantian, died in the hands of the other party. Therefore, they would definitely not let the other party off. Not only did they want the other party's things, but they also wanted the other party's life. "You want my treasures? Do you have the life to take them?" Lin Xian sneered. "Ants like you? Yours truly can kill you with a single slap." Lin Xian was extremely arrogant. He was trying to anger these people. Indeed, these words caused the surrounding people to grit their teeth. "Ignorant junior, who do you think you are? You're strong among the younger generation, but now you're dead. This time, we've sent many elders, including the Grand Elder. Do you think you can withstand it? Kill him. Don't talk nonsense with him." The people from the Vermilion Bird Palace attacked first. The sages sent out vermilion bird phantoms and attacked. Lin Xian dodged quickly. He did not attack immediately because there were still some people who had not entered the array. He had to wait until these people had entered the array before he attacked. A few killing swords appeared behind Lin Xian's head. They were filled with killing intent and wanted to pierce through him. Lin Xian dodged quickly. At the same time, he used stellar transposition to cause the 2 killing swords to collide. He dodged quickly. However, at this moment, another killing sword pierced towards his neck. With a clang, he was sent flying. A shallow sword mark appeared on his neck. This scene gave him a fright. It seemed that the Dark Shadow Temple had sent out a killing sage. They were indeed strong. If his body was weaker, this sword would have split him in half. Buzz! 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 Another few figures charged at him like ghosts. Lin Xian roared and waved his hand. He broke the void in front of him and slapped 2 killing swords out. Then he kicked them. Meanwhile, he turned around and kicked another exterminating sacred cultivator into the air. The killing sage was sent flying in the air. His body was torn into pieces. Then the bloody mist turned into countless clones and charged at Lin Xian. Kill! Lin Xian roared and fought with the killing swords. Stellar transposition was very powerful. It could cause the killing swords to kill each other. Moreover, with the Kuin Peng movement technique, he was able to dodge quickly. He could deal with them quickly. In the distance, the experts from the Vermilion Bird Palace and Dragon Valley could not wait any longer. They could not let the people from the Dark Moon Temple attack. Otherwise, if the Dark Moon Temple really took Lin Xian away, they would not be able to get the treasure. Therefore, the experts and sages of the two forces also attacked. Chapter 3482. Boom! In an instant, Lin Xian was sent flying by a force. There were too many powerhouses this time. Even if he was fast and had a strong physique, he couldn't withstand it. As he retreated, 3 wounds appeared on his body and blood stained his body. Damn it, are you done? Lin Xian transmitted his voice. Black Mountain said, Wait, there are still some people who haven't come in. Damn it. He roared, pulled out the spear of destruction and charged out. He didn't let Fantasy attack, and he even let her leave the array formation, because when the array formation was activated, it would be very terrifying. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian was fighting with so many people, and it was really dangerous. At this moment, he couldn't use his movement technique, because every part of the space was filled with violent energy. Fortunately, he could still use stellar transposition to convert a portion of the energy. Otherwise, he would have been blown up. But even so, he was still blasted into pieces by the energy. His body was completely torn apart. Damn it, are you done? Lin Xian asked again. All right, Black Mountain finally spoke. Buzz. The 8 dragon veins began to rotate, and with a crack, it was as if a dragon had turned over, directly locking the entire world. The 8 dragon sky lock array was officially activated. Oh no, there's an array formation. We've been tricked. The surrounding sages' expressions also changed. They naturally realized that the entire world had changed. So what if it's an array formation? No matter how exquisite that kid's array formation is, can it trap all of us? Don't forget how many sages have come this time. The people of Vermilion Bird Palace sneered, and the people of Dark Moon Temple and Longgu also heaved a sigh of relief. Indeed, no matter how exquisite the array formation was, it couldn't stop so many of them. Kill. Capture that kid, and the array formation will break on its own. These people all stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian stepped back and laughed coldly. You guys don't know what's good for you. Even now, you still want to kill me. Terrifying killing intent rushed into the sky, and the entire space was collapsing. This time, the killing array was too terrifying. Not good. The surrounding people were terrified, as if they had fallen into the 18th level of hell. That terrifying aura made their hair stand on end. At this moment, they knew that they had fallen into the other party's trap. This was a peerless killing formation. No run. These people broke through the encirclement one after another. Attack a place, shatter the void, and we can leave. These were all experts. Those saints mobilized the great Tao of heaven and earth to attack. Boom! However, the 8 Dragon Heavenlock array had been completely activated. Endless lightning fell from the sky and pierced through the 2 saints. The 2 saints were charred black with white smoke coming out of their bodies. They fell from the sky, and their souls were instantly destroyed. What? The surrounding people went crazy. The power of the lightning was too terrifying. It could directly kill a saint. At this moment, their expressions finally changed, and they fled as if they had gone mad. Even if he wanted to leave, could he? Since you dared to kill me, then go to hell for me. Lin Xian stepped back and looked at the scene around him. The corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Between heaven and earth, terrifying flames, endless lightning, and terrifying killing swords kept surging. It was a scene of destruction. Those who were hit by those energies were torn into pieces and turned into a bloody mist. All kinds of screams made one's scalp go numb. Capture that kid, capture him, and the array formation will be broken. Among them, a second heaven saint stared at Lin Xian with a piercing gaze. He tore through the void and rushed over quickly with the laws of heaven and earth. Go to hell, brat. A large hand reached out and grabbed Lin Xian. In his opinion, the other party was only a first heaven saint and could not block his attack at all. Lin Xian sneered. Old fart, you dare to attack me? He dodged. In the ray formation, the 8 dragons roared and spat out a ball of terrifying flames that directly enveloped the other party. Whoosh! The flames surged into the sky and burned the second heaven saint. He was extremely miserable. His body was on fire as he fled, frantically. However, as soon as he escaped, he turned into a bloody mist and was burned into nothingness. What? Even a second heaven saint is dead. The surrounding powerhouses all went crazy. Previously, they thought that these powerhouses might be able to forcefully break through. If they could not, they could still capture that kid. But now, it seemed that they were too careless. The power of this array formation was beyond their imagination. Even a second heaven saint would be reduced to ashes if he was hit. Damn it, this is a trap. This battle technique is too powerful. Let's leave here first and think about it later. The saints of Vermilion Bird Palace, Dark Moon Temple, and Dragon Valley roared and worked together to strike out the laws of heaven and earth. Countless Tao patterns intertwined in the sky. They wanted to forcefully tear this space apart. They could not escape. How could Lin Xian let these people escape? With a wave of his hand, countless killing swords appeared in those places and descended from the sky. Boom, boom, boom. These people were all sent flying into pieces. In the end, their bodies and souls were destroyed. Here, even a third heaven saint would die, not to mention a second heaven saint. This was a terrifying attack formed by using the power of the 8 dragon veins in conjunction with the laws of heaven and earth. Are they all dead? The others felt their scalps go numb. They roared frantically. Impossible! What kind of array formation is this? How can it be so terrifying? I don't believe it. We can definitely break it. Quick, find the flaws in the array formation. They roared frantically. Of course, there were some who did not give up. Among them, a saint killer from the Dark Moon Temple hid. He charged towards Lin Xian. This was a second heaven saint killer. He was very terrifying. He quietly came to Lin Xian's side and slashed out. This kind of unexpected attack could threaten a third heaven saint. Unfortunately, Lin Xian did not even turn his head. Countless flames soared into the sky and enveloped the saint killer. The slayer saint was burned to ashes. This is your final destination. Slowly enjoy the pain of death. Lin Xian sneered. Kid, you're too arrogant. How dare you set up such a sinister killing array to kill us? I can't let you live today. An extremely terrifying voice sounded between heaven and earth. Then a figure walked over. The aura of this figure was incomparably powerful. He was a third heaven saint. I'm shameless. I'm arrogant. Humph. Don't you think it's shameless and arrogant for so many saints to attack a young first heaven saint at the same time? In terms of shamelessness, no one can compare to you. As for you falling into the trap, I can only say that you're idiots. Don't blame me. As for you, you think you can look down on me just because you're a third heaven saint? Today, I'll let you experience what despair is. After saying that, Lin Xian continued to activate the array formation. The monstrous, murderous aura formed a peerless killing sword and rushed over. Junior, you're courting death. The third heaven saint was furious. How dare an ant attack me? Chapter 3483. He opened his mouth and spat out seawater. The seawater intertwined and formed sea cheilants that rushed over. Boom, boom, boom. The two collided and exploded with a peerless aura. The sea cheilants were all shattered. The terrifying killing sword slashed forward with a biting cold aura. At this moment, the world was collapsing. The third heaven sage roared crazily and attacked with all his might. He blocked the killing sword. He slapped out with both palms, which were like two demonic plates that could destroy the world. They rushed forward with Tao runes all over them. But in an instant, all the divine abilities that he used were split apart. Not only that, his palms were also split open. Blood flowed wildly, and the third heaven sage was sent flying with a scream. It was not over yet. Lin Xian transmitted his voice, and Heishan completely activated the array. Immediately, countless killing intent gathered in the surroundings. The other 3 killing swords were all connected to heaven and earth. They carried an extremely terrifying aura as they charged towards the third heaven sage. A miserable cry was heard. The third heaven sage was scared out of his wits. He turned around and fled. He was disdainful before, but now he was completely terrified. This array was not something that he could resist. Bang! Bang! For swords of slaughter directly pierced through his body, cutting his body into pieces. His soul escaped with its life. He wanted to escape, but he was split in half. Damn it! Everyone gathered together and attacked together. When the people of Vermilion Bird Palace saw this scene, they screamed crazily. Even a third heaven sage had fallen. If they did not escape, all of them would probably die here. Yes, that's right. Hurry up and attack together. The people of Longgu and the Dark Moon Temple also quickly gathered. It's impossible for you to leave. No one can leave today. Go to hell. Lin Xian shouted coldly and completely activated the array. All kinds of terrifying scenes filled the 9 heavens. The sages fell one after another. In the blink of an eye, the number of people was reduced by half, and it was still decreasing. Kid, we won't let you go even if we become ghosts. Those people were furious. They were really desperate. This time, the 3 top sects had sent so many experts and sages. This was definitely a very powerful army. They could destroy anything. But now he had been killed by the enemy's array. The death of so many saints was a great loss to the 3 holy lands. Then you can go and be a ghost first. Lin Xian sneered. He activated the Sword of Slaughter and killed a few more saints. The others were already on the verge of collapse. Wong. At this moment, the void split open, and a terrifying claw descended from the sky, directly slapping towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's figure flashed, dodging in an instant. He was hit by the shockwave of this energy, and his aura tumbled as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, what's going on? He was stunned. This power was too strong. It had already surpassed that of a third heaven sage. Not good. Kid, this is a little saint. A little saint had arrived. Black Mountain's expression changed. A minor saint was no ordinary saint. He was already a titled saint. He was in existence at the 5th heaven of the saint realm. His power was absolutely terrifying. Damn it, the Vermilion Bird Palace's little saint. Lin Xian's expression was also incomparably ferocious. When he was on planet Suzuku, he was chased by the Vermilion Bird Palace's little saint. At that time, he hid in the Demon Cultivation Valley to avoid being chased by the little saint. He didn't expect another little saint to come now. How many are there? Lin Xian asked. Black Mountain scanned with his soul. There was only one. Only one. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, if there were 2, he would have to turn around and run. If there was only one, he could still fight. A little saint. Ha ha ha, it's our Grand Elder. You're dead. The surviving Vermilion Bird Palaces saints raised their heads and laughed. The people of the Dark Moon Palace and Dragon Valley also heaved a sigh of relief. They knew the power of a little saint. No matter how powerful the opponent was, he couldn't do anything to a little saint. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly and activated the Sword of Slaughter again. Those saints who were laughing maniacally were instantly killed. Damn it! Lunatic! The rest of the survivors retreated crazily. A little saint was here, but the opponent still dared to attack them. He was simply a lunatic. They didn't dare to provoke such an existence. In the sky, the little saint also appeared. He shouted coldly, "Ants, do you still dare to kill in front of me?" Indeed, he was a little saint. His aura was so strong that it blocked all the killing swords in the surroundings. His every move was accompanied by powerful Dao runes. Even the 8 dragon heavenlock formation shook. Kill! The little saint waved his sleeve and threw out a few sword of slaughter. These were all sword of law. They followed him like shadows and directly attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the Kuan Peng movement technique and quickly dodged. The sword of slaughter pierced through countless of his doppelgangers. However, they didn't stop and directly rushed toward him. It was too terrifying. Just the sword chi alone was enough to make his hair stand on end. He roared, pulled out the great destruction spear, and swung it forward. Clang! The sword of slaughter collided with the great destruction spear, producing an earth-shattering sound. Lin Xian was forced back. Countless cracks appeared on his body. This was the power of a little saint. It was too terrifying. If the great destruction spear wasn't a saint weapon, it would have been broken. And you can't escape. The little saint was like a heavenly god looking down coldly. The corner of his mouth raised into a disdainful smile. It was just a sword of slaughter, and the opponent couldn't resist it. If he attacked with all his strength, it would be easy to kill the opponent. He must torture the opponent to death. Buzz! His saint domain surged out of him. It shrouded the world. Boy! How dare you use the slaughter formation to kill the experts of Vermilion Bird Palace? Today you will die without a doubt. This is also where you are buried. The little saint's voice was incomparably cold. Those who were still alive in the distance all laughed. Great, the opponent can't escape this time. Boy, this is not good. Why don't we withdraw? We have killed so many saints. It's enough. He Shan said. A little saint was not an ordinary saint. He was very powerful. Even the 8 dragon heavenlock formation couldn't do anything to him. Moreover, it won't be long before the formation is completely destroyed by him. At that time, it will be too late for us to leave. Leave? Lin Xian's face was gloomy. Indeed, he had already killed enough saints. Of those who came, only 1/10 of them were still alive. The rest were all destroyed in body and soul. It was enough. However, Lin Xian was still unwilling to leave. At the last moment, a little saint appeared. Was he going to leave just like that? Was he going to let the opponent continue to be arrogant? He wasn't willing to. So what if he was a little saint? If a little saint died, it would be a great blow to Vermilion Bird Palace. Do you have a way to kill him? Lin Xian asked. What? He Shan gasped when he heard that. You want to kill a little saint? That's impossible. Chapter 3484. A minor saint is a 5th heavenly layer sage. The gap between you and a minor saint is too big. Even the 8 dragon heavenlock formation can't kill a minor saint. What if it's the 9 dragon heavenlock formation? Lin Xian said coldly, I still have the great dragon sword soul that can replace one of the dragon veins. He Shan sucked in a breath of cold air. If the great dragon sword soul is used as a dragon vein and the other 8 dragon veins are used as support, it's really possible. However, he said that it's possible in theory, but it will take some time to change the formation. Even I can't do it in one go. Moreover, someone has to attract the minor saint's attention. Can you block the attack of a minor saint? So, you can. Since that's the case, let the great dragon sword soul be the 9th dragon vein. I can hold on for a while. How long will it take for you to succeed? Lin Xian asked quickly while dodging. He Shan said, I can let the 8 dragon veins provide all the energy to the great dragon sword soul, allowing it to unleash an earth-shattering attack. This process won't take long, only 10 seconds. But kid, let me tell you, a minor saint can kill a 3rd heavenly layer sage thousands of times in a second. Are you sure you can block it for 10 seconds? Hearing this, Lin Xian sucked in a deep breath. A 3rd heavenly layer sage can't even block it for a second. He wants to block it for 10 seconds. Yes, I can use the Great Sage Tower and Yama Flame. 10 seconds shouldn't be a problem. This time, I must kill a minor saint. Seeing Lin Xian's determination, Heishan said, if I use all my strength, I might be able to complete it in 9 seconds. Lin Xian descended and landed on the ground. The great dragon sword soul rushed out of his body and drilled into the ground. In the next moment, Heishan also flew out secretly and began to create the formation. Lin Xian, on the other hand, looked at the little saint. Do you really think you can kill me? In a moment, I'll let you, old dog, fall here as well. Aunt, you're courting death. The minor saint was furious. His gaze turned into a terrifying rainbow that pierced through the air. This rainbow was not inferior to the sleeve sword. The might of a little saint was unparalleled. In the distance, the surviving saint sneered coldly. What a reckless guy! How dare he provoke a minor saint? Didn't he know how terrifying the power of a little saint was? Lin Xian dodged with extreme speed, brandishing the Great Destruction Spear and smashing it towards the 2 streaks of light. With a clang, the Great Annihilation Spear trembled. Countless cracks appeared on Lin Xian's arm, and the weapon almost slipped out of his hand. His figure flickered and brushed past them. His entire shoulder turned into a bloody mist. The 2 rainbows turned into 2 circles in the sky and attacked him again. This gaze would not rest until one of them was dead. Aunt, you can't even block my gaze, and you still dare to be arrogant in front of me? The little saint clasped his hands behind his back and sneered. This gaze was enough to penetrate the other party. Sure enough, the great spear of destruction could not shatter this gaze. It could only send it flying. However, the 2 streaks of light actually came at Lin Xian from the left and right. Lin Xian sent one of them flying, and the other one came directly behind him, wanting to pierce through him. At that instant, he uttered a cold roar as an enormous creature suddenly appeared behind him. It collided with the streak of light. Clang! The 9 heavens and 10 earths were shaking. The 8 dragon heaven lock grand formation was also shaking nonstop, as if it would shatter at any time. This attack was simply too terrifying. The saints who were sneering in the distance were all pushed back by this force, vomiting mouthfuls of blood. Their bodies were cracked. Only that saint was not affected. Lin Xian was also sent flying. Many cracks appeared on his body, but fortunately, it was just the aftermath of the energy. His body healed in an instant, and he turned his head abruptly. What little saint? You're just Essa. Do you think you can kill me? Lin Xian held the Grand Sage Pagoda in his hand and roared at the sky. The little saint was stunned, and his face darkened. His gaze actually failed to kill the other party, which made him a little embarrassed. However, when he looked at the pagoda, he cried out in surprise. This aura? Another sacred artifact. To think that an ant like you would have 2 saint weapons. That's truly surprising. After I kill you, these 2 sacred artifacts will be mine. He was too happy. He reached out his palm and grabbed in front of him, completely enveloping the Grand Sage Pagoda and Lin Xian. Get lost! He waved the great spear of destruction and stabbed forward. Terrifying sword chi surged with an unparalleled aura. It collided with the huge hand that covered the sky. With a clang, the sound of an intense collision rang out. The hand shook slightly and then pressed down with the force of Mount Tai. The great spear of destruction was indestructible. It could even injure a level 3 saint, but in front of the little saint, it could not break his body at all. Lin Xian took 3 steps back. The force caused the blood in his body to churn. He roared at the sky and used the 9-yang divine body to the extreme. He swung the Grand Sage Pagoda and smashed it down. The Grand Sage Pagoda was like a giant mountain that slammed into the sky. Boom! 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 It shook violently. The palm that covered the sky was still mercilessly falling down. The Grand Sage Pagoda was also pushed back. Useless brat. Although you have great treasures, you are still too weak. A level 1 saint is like an ant in front of me. Do you think that an ant with a treasure sword can kill a giant dragon? The little saint looked at him with disdain. He was right. For example, the overlords like the Shadowless family in the Great Yen planet were incomparably strong. However, if a little saint were to descend, he could instantly sweep away everything. Those overlords could not block him at all. Although the Grand Sage Pagoda and the Great Spear of Destruction were terrifying sacred artifacts, Lin Xian was not a great saint. He was not even a level 3 saint. He was only a level 1 saint. Therefore, he could not display the full power of the Grand Sage Pagoda. The huge hand that covered the sky was mercilessly falling down. Once it landed, Lin Xian would not be able to escape. With a loud bang, the huge hand that covered the sky had completely fallen, covering a large area. "Haha, it's done!" The surviving saints all laughed. The little saint sneered. Next, he shattered the opponent's body and captured his soul. Everything on the opponent would be his. However, at this moment there was a change. The little saint's face changed, and then it became distorted. "You're courting death." Incomparable light burst out from his palm. Heaven and Earth Tao runes shot up into the sky, scaring the surviving saints. Their scalps went numb. What's going on? What happened? In the next moment, they saw a hole suddenly appear in the huge hand that covered the sky. Countless black flames were jumping around. A crack appeared on the hand. From the crack, a human figure rushed out. It was Lin Xian. Damn it. That brat actually escaped? He actually escaped the attack of a little saint. How is this possible? Chapter 3485. What kind of flame was that? How could it burn a little saint's palm? These people felt like they had gone mad. The little saint's face was gloomy as well. Countless Tao runes on his palm began to extinguish the black flame, but he couldn't extinguish it immediately. This made him extremely shocked. In the end, he snorted coldly and cut off his palm. Only then did he manage to cut off the black flame. Otherwise, his entire arm would have been engulfed. The severed palm instantly grew back. He looked at the severed palm and the black flame on the ground with a gloomy face. A flame that could threaten him was truly frightening. It seemed like he couldn't be careless. This kid was too strange. "Little ant, you have completely infuriated me. I will show you my true power." The little saint roared, and his power erupted, shattering the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The 8 Dragon Heaven Lock Grand Formation also shook, and many cracks appeared on it. Lin Xian was blown away. Just the shockwave of this energy alone caused his 9-yang divine body to crack. One could imagine that the little saint was really angry. "Black Mountain, are you done? Just wait for a few more seconds." Black Mountain said, "Buzz." The little saint in front of him had already charged over. Lin Xian could only keep retreating, using the Great Sage Pagoda as a shield. "Useless kid, you can't even block one of my attacks." The little saint's speed was very fast, and he arrived in front of Lin Xian in an instant. If it weren't for the Great Sage Pagoda, Lin Xian would have been torn apart by this aura. A palm reached out to grab his head. This was a situation where death was inevitable. But at this moment, Black Mountain said, "Done." A dragon roar was heard, and then the 8 dragons roared. The 9th dragon soared into the sky and turned into a giant dragon. It was like a peerless sword light, rushing over in an instant. With a puff, it cut off the little saint's palm, splitting him in half. Puff! Saint blood splattered, and the little saint's body was split in half. What? He was split in half. How was this possible? Those who were still alive were all dumbfounded. That was a little saint. His strength was so terrifying, but now he was split in half. Damn it! How dare you injure me? I'll kill you! The little saint threw his head back and roared as he attempted to reassemble his body. However, in an instant he was split into 4 halves. Then a terrifying sword chi formed, and an incomparable sword diagram enveloped him. They wanted to obliterate him. No. How could you possess such power? The little saint shrieked in terror as he realized that his body was incapable of healing itself. Even the blood that had been destroyed was incapable of regrowing. This made him feel terrified. Although the previous array formation was terrifying, it still couldn't do anything to him. As long as he was given some time, he would be able to break it. But now he was really scared. If this continued, his body and soul would be destroyed. Get lost! With a furious roar, he broke through the 9 heavens, fleeing into the distance. You can't escape! Lin Xian roared. In an instant, he grasped the great dragon sword spirit and completely absorbed the power of the 8 dragon veins. At this moment, the great dragon sword spirit turned into a peerless legendary sword and slashed down. With a poochie sound, heaven and earth shattered. It engulfed everything in front of it. The saints who were still alive were all shrouded. When everything was over, all of them were killed. None of them were left alive. Swoosh! Was he dead? Black Mountain also floated out, his face full of shock. A little saint was killed by them. Just like that? It was unbelievable. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. He swallowed the treasure of heaven and earth, and the great dragon sword spirit returned to his body. His bones were sore all over. Being chased by a little saint was the most dangerous thing he had ever experienced. But fortunately it was all over now. So what if he was a little saint? He was still killed by him. He walked forward and began to clean up the battlefield, putting away all the storage rings that were not broken. He took out some of the broken ones and took out the items that were inside. Then he soared into the sky and went on his way. With so many experts and saints dead, plus a minor saint, it was definitely enough to set off a huge storm. He would let these people know the consequences of pursuing him. Lin Xian didn't go to the Wolffang Star. Although he had killed a large number of experts this time, there were still too many experts near the Langia Star. If he went there, it would definitely cause a great war. So, he was ready to go somewhere else. After all, he was going to step on the ancient path of the stars. He was a young genius who wanted to walk the path of the great emperor. He couldn't stay on the Langia Star forever. So, he was ready to continue his journey. On the other side, the people of the Vermilion Bird Palace went crazy. They couldn't believe that they had lost contact with one of their little saints. They searched crazily and finally found the location of the 8 dragon veins. At this moment, the 8 dragon veins had been drained of their energy. They wouldn't recover for hundreds of years. Around the 8 dragon veins were mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Those were the corpses of saints. The people of the Vermilion Bird Palace went crazy. They found the saints of their own sect, the Dragon Valley and the Dark Moon Palace. They were densely packed, and they were all their elite experts. No, damn it, why did they all die here? These people's scalps went numb. Where was the little saint? They looked around but couldn't find him. However, they could clearly feel the aura of a little saint. Could it be that the little saint was killed in body and soul? Not even a corpse was left. They couldn't believe it. The experts of the Dragon Valley and the Dark Moon Palace also rushed over. When they saw this scene, many of them fainted. The people of the 8 Wind Palace and the Sikong family also gasped and felt their scalps go numb. Who the hell did this? It must be someone who resisted the Langia Star, or it must be related to them. Otherwise, They wouldn't have dared to attack so many saints. They roared crazily. However, they couldn't find the culprit at all. After this news spread, the myriad worlds were in an uproar. It seemed that another terrifying expert had made his move. It was very likely that it was a saint venerable or a saint king. For a moment, even the 8-wind palace, the Vermilion bird palace, and the other 6 major forces also fell silent. They didn't act rashly, but they didn't leave either. They still sealed off the Langistar. They didn't know that Lin Xian had already left them. He directly passed by the Langistar and went deeper into the ancient star path. It was another lonely space flight. Lin Xian sat in the spirit ship and began to classify the storage rings of his saber. He sorted those resources into different categories and stored them away. This time he made a fortune. There were so many storage rings of people and experts, and there was even a little saints. He definitely made a fortune. After flying for about 2 months, Meng Meng said, "Young master, there is a very special world ahead. Do you want to go there?" "Oh, what's special?" Lin Xian opened his eyes and asked curiously. Chapter 3486. The world in front of them was called the Alchemy Gold Star. It was a world that focused on manufacturing all kinds of weapons, armor, and spirit boats. There were very powerful blacksmithing families and sects in it. Oh, weapons families and sections. Lin Xian's eyes moved. What could they forge? Could they forge sacred weapons? Of course. As long as they were given sufficient remuneration and materials, they could forge sacred weapons. Hall Master! These blacksmithing masters are very powerful. Rumor has it that there was an extreme weapon that was not forged by the great emperor. Instead, it was forged by a blacksmithing family for generations. Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned. He remembered that the dragon-pattern cauldron in the wavering light, sacred ground was not made by the great emperor. It seemed that there were always some mysterious existences in the universe. Let's go and take a look. He was also very interested in the Alchemy Gold Star, so they rushed down directly. After entering the Alchemy Gold Star, Lin Xian was surprised to find that the power of metal in this world was very rich. It seemed that the Alchemy Gold Star was indeed worthy of its name. In addition to the power of metal, the power of fire was also very powerful. He found a city and entered it, ready to understand it well. Squeak! The snow-white little monkey jumped onto his shoulder, hugged the spirit fruit, and looked around curiously. What a beautiful woman! When Lin Xian and Fantasy entered, many people's gazes fell on Fantasy. Fantasy snorted coldly and covered her face with a veil. However, her graceful and exquisite body still attracted the attention of countless people. Facing this kind of fearless gaze, a biting cold murderous intent appeared in the dreamy eyes. If it weren't for Lin Xian, he would have dug out their eyes long ago. Fantasy, let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and walked forward. The place they came to was called 9 Dragon Mountain. It was a manor. There were 9 mountains in the manor. They were like 9 gigantic dragons and were extremely huge. These were 9 spirit veins. Each of them had been developed, and palaces and pavilions had appeared. It could be said that it was a paradise on earth. It was even more spectacular than the immortal Lin Xian Pavilion. Those who could enter this place were not mortals. Lin Xian sat down on a mountain peak. Soon, a fairy riding an immortal crane came to ask what Lin Xian and the others needed. Lin Xian ordered a few dishes and a pot of spirit wine. These dishes were usually made with the meat of top demon kings. Among them, there were half-saints and even demon saints. However, the prices were frighteningly expensive. Lin Xian ordered a few top-tier demon kings. The meat was indeed fragrant and contained a surging power. If a weaker person were to consume this meat, they would probably explode from the power. But who was Lin Xian? The secret art of longevity in his body began to circulate. directly converting and absorbing the energy. It was really a good place. Lin Xian exclaimed. The snow-white little monkey picked up a heavenly rock claw and ate happily. In the distant mountains and pavilions, many people looked over. Most of them were looking at Meng Meng. However, a few people were surprised when they saw the little white monkey. One of them flew over directly. A divine bridge appeared under his feet, carrying him like a god. He instantly flew towards Lin Xian. The place where the man was at was the third mountain peak of Nine Dragon Mountain. There was a Ling-Long celestial pavilion there. There were a few figures there. Each of them had a dignified appearance. The person who came was a man in silver armor. He looked mighty and extraordinary. After he arrived, he stared at the snow-white little monkey. His eyes were burning with passion. This monkey was so intelligent. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. I've taken a liking to this pet of yours. Name a price. As soon as he said that, the people in the surrounding mountains, pavilions, and halls began to discuss and turn their heads. They did not expect that the silver-armored man would not take a liking to the peerless beauty next to him. Instead, he took a liking to a monkey. They were extremely surprised and looked at him curiously. What was so special about this monkey? However, the more they looked, the more surprised they became. What a clever monkey! Could it be that they were the legendary spiritual monkeys of heaven and earth? They were too shocked. The people who came here were all experts, and there were many saints. Therefore, their judgment was naturally unique. Although the little snow-white monkey looked cute, its intelligence was enough to shock these people. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the other party. He was slightly surprised. A level 2 saint. Looking at the other party's age, he was about 500 or 600 years old. He was indeed powerful. No wonder he was so arrogant and wanted to take Little White away. However, he was just a level 2 saint. He did not take him seriously. He said calmly, "This is my friend, not my pet. Go back." Friend? The silver-armored man was stunned. Then, the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. "Okay, name a price for your friend. As long as you name it, I can satisfy you. What do you want? A peerless divine ability, a powerful weapon, or a secret manual? In fact, I can even get you top-notch medicinal pills and heavenly treasures. As long as you name it." The silver-armored man stood with his hands behind his back. He raised his chin and looked extremely confident. In his opinion, under the strong benefits, the other party would definitely agree to the exchange. However, he was destined to be disappointed. Would Lin Xian exchange with such a person? The little white monkey was his companion. Lin Xian frowned. "Don't you understand what I'm saying? This is my friend, not an item to be exchanged. Leave quickly." There was a trace of coldness in his voice. The surrounding people were shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian's attitude to be so unyielding. The silver-armored man was stunned. Then he sneered. "Kid, you just came to this world, right? How dare you talk back to me? Do you know who I am? What is my status? Do you believe that I can destroy your body and soul with a single order?" Lin Xian did not even lift his eyelids. He drank a mouthful of spirit wine and said calmly, "Oh, is your status very honorable? Then do you know who I am? What is my status? How dare you treat me with such an attitude? Have you thought about your own fate? Before doing anything, you have to know how to put yourself in my shoes. There are some people that I can't afford to offend, but there are also some people that you can't afford to offend." When these words came out, the surrounding people were in an uproar. Damn, is this young man threatening us? Heavens, who is this person? How dare he speak such nonsense? These people are all crazy. They quickly checked and found that the other party's aura was not very strong. It seemed that he was at most a first heaven sage. Where did that red-robed man get the confidence to fight against the silver-armored man? They could already see that the silver-armored man was at the second heaven. With such cultivation At such a young age, he was definitely a top elite. Isn't a first heaven person courting death by fighting against a second heaven person? Chapter 3487. On the third mountain peak, his companions also frowned. This kid was really reckless. Brother Lay had given him face, but he dared to reject it. Brother Lay was magnanimous and didn't bother with an ant like him. If it were me, I would have made him suffer a fate worse than death. Cold, killing intent appeared in the eyes of these people. The silver-armored man also frowned. He waved his hand and took out an ancient mirror. It was called the Six Harmonies Mirror. It was a half-step, sacred tool that had just been made. Kid, take it if you know what's good for you. Give that monkey to me. I can let you go if you contradicted me earlier. Otherwise, I will make you regret being born into this world. The Six Harmonies Mirror. The surrounding people were shocked as they stared at the mirror in the silver-armored man's hand. It was a bronze mirror. It was very simple and unadorned. Mysterious runes were engraved on it. Cries of surprise could be heard. Heavens, this should have just been made. It should be the work of an alchemy family. This wasn't an ordinary half-step sacred tool. Even if it wasn't a sacred tool, it wasn't far off. It was more than enough to exchange such a treasure for a monkey. The surrounding people's eyes turned red. Obviously, they wanted this half-step sacred tool very much. However, no one dared to make a move. They were just annoyed that they didn't have a monkey by their side. However, Lin Xian didn't even look at the half-step sacred tool. He didn't care about a half-step sacred tool. However, the silver-armored man's attitude made him very unhappy. He put down his wine cup and sighed. Do you really think that you are a high and mighty god who can dominate everything? I have already warned you twice to leave. However, you don't know what's good for you and don't listen. At this point, Lin Xian's eyes turned cold. Damn kid, how dare you talk to Brother Lay like that? Kneel down and accept your death. On the third mountain peak in the distance, a man stood up. It was the silver-armored man's companion. He was wearing red battle armor. His entire body was covered with red Dao runes. As soon as he said that, a large red palm appeared above Lin Xian's head, trying to press Lin Xian to the ground. This sudden scene caused everyone to be stunned, attacking just because of a disagreement. However, looking at the red-armored man who attacked, his strength was also very strong. They didn't know what would happen to Lin Xian. Would he kneel and kowtow, or would he be pressed to the ground and kowtow? Lin Xian also frowned. Did they really dare to attack him? He was acting recklessly. However, he didn't move. With just a glance, the stellar transposition collided with the red palm right in front of his eyes. Buzz! The palm moved at a strange angle towards the man from the Yin family. The silver-armored man was startled. His figure swayed, and he dodged the attack. The others also felt their scalps go numb. Heavens, what's going on? Were those people going to kill each other? After dodging the attack, the silver-armored man frowned and looked into the distance. The red-armored man hurriedly said, Young Master Lay, I didn't attack you. Damn it, what's going on? He was also stunned. With his strength, how could he attack the wrong person? However, the palm just now did change direction at a strange angle. Could it be that this kid was behind it? Damn it! How dare you make a fool of me? You almost caused Brother Lay to misunderstand me. You're dead. The red-armored man was completely enraged. This time he didn't attack from afar. Instead, he tore open the void and charged towards Lin Xian. In an instant, he arrived in front of Lin Xian. Buzz! Countless Dao runes formed a red hammer and charged towards Lin Xian's head. If it hit, it would definitely shatter into pieces. Boom! 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 The surrounding space was shattered. It couldn't withstand the force at all. Lin Xian frowned again. You're acting recklessly. With a wave of his sleeve, the stellar transposition was activated. The giant hammer was thrown in the opposite direction. With a loud boom, the giant hammer landed on the red-armored man's body. The red-armored man retreated. His entire shoulder was shattered. His face was filled with fear. On the other hand, Lin Xian put down his wine cup and said coldly, "You're not qualified to be arrogant in front of me." The experts on the 9 Dragons Mountain gasped in astonishment. Who was this young man? How could he be so powerful? Previously, they thought that Lin Xian was dead for sure. However, now they could see that Lin Xian was also an expert. The red-armored man was also a first heaven sage. He was very strong, especially the attack, just now. An ordinary sage of the same level would have to go all out to deal with it. However, Lin Xian only waved his sleeve and caused such a terrifying scene. This showed that his strength was above the red-armored man, especially that superpower. It was even more amazing. They still couldn't figure out what kind of superpower Lin Xian had used. No wonder he dared to compete with the silver-armored man. The silver-armored man was also stunned. Silver lightning runes flashed in his eyes as he stared at Lin Xian. No wonder he dared to be so arrogant in front of me. Lin Xian's counterattack was very similar to the palm that suddenly attacked him. It should be one of Lin Xian's superpowers. However, he had never seen it before. However, he was only surprised. He didn't care, because his cultivation level was 1 heaven higher than Lin Xian's. He was confident that he could crush Lin Xian in terms of cultivation level. Young man, you're not bad, but you're too narrow-minded. Do you really think that you can dominate the world just because you've mastered 1 or 2 superpowers? The difference in cultivation level is not something you can imagine. Therefore, you're not my opponent at all. Now obediently submit to me, and I can consider sparing your life. A terrifying sage aura rose from the silver-armored man. Lin Xian sneered and glanced at Lin Xian. Oh, you're still so arrogant and confident. Looks like you're not that great. Do you think you're very powerful just because you're a second heaven prodigy? Don't you know that there's always someone better than you? I'm the person you can't provoke. So, while I'm still in a good mood, get out of here and you can still live. You're courting death. The silver-armored man was furious. Lightning runes appeared on his body, and he charged at Lin Xian. There was a terrifying, destructive aura on it. Lin Xian snorted and put down the wine cup. Suddenly, a terrifying sword intent rushed out of his body and rushed into the sky, blocking the lightning that filled the sky. The 2 forces collided and swept out in all directions. The entire 9 Dragon Mountain shook. Boom! 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 Violent explosions sounded, and the array around them lit up. A few elders rushed over and said anxiously, "You too don't fight. Please don't break the rules." Their auras surged, and Dao runes spread out. They looked as if they were facing a great enemy. This doesn't mean that I'm going to fight. Lin Xian was still sitting there calmly. The silver-armored man snorted. Don't worry, we know the rules here. We won't fight here. Then he looked at Lin Xian. If you're a man, come out and fight with me. I'll let you know what true strength is. I wanted to let you go, but you don't know what's good for you. Fine, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian also stood up. Chapter 3488. All right, I'll wait for you. The silver-armored man soared into the sky, left 9 Dragon Mountain, and flew outside. On the 3rd mountain, his companions sneered and followed him. Let's go. There will always be people who don't know what's good for them. Lin Xian waved his sleeves and stepped into the air. Meng Huan followed beside him respectfully. The 2 of them were also very fast. When the experts on the other mountains saw this scene, they became interested. Let's go and take a look. They also soared into the air to watch. 9 Dragon Mountain did not allow fighting, so they came to a nearby mountain range. There was nothing to worry about here. Standing in the air, the silver-armored man turned his head and stared at Lin Xian. Kid, are you satisfied with the tomb I chose for you?" As soon as he finished speaking, terrifying lightning rose from his body and turned into 9 thunderbolts, roaring in the sky. The 9 tiger heads bared their fangs and claws as they grabbed at Lin Xian. The entire sky was filled with lightning. The experts who were watching felt their hearts beat wildly. What a terrifying power! This silver-armored man is incredible. Yes, he's even more terrifying than some of the older experts. Thunder Leopard. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. His opponent was indeed extraordinary. Although he was a second heaven sage, his power was much stronger than ordinary second heaven sages. His opponent was indeed a peerless genius. But so what? He shouted coldly and released his divine body, turning into a golden giant. With a roar, his golden palm opened the sky and grabbed at the thunder tiger head. Boom, boom, boom. The two collided and instantly released a destructive energy. The surrounding people all narrowed their eyes and activated their defenses to resist. However, at this moment, the void split open and a square bronze cauldron appeared, suppressing the violent energy. Then, a figure appeared on top of the square bronze cauldron. What? Someone's here. Someone stopped the battle, the surrounding people exclaimed. Lin Xian did not attack immediately. Instead, he narrowed his eyes and looked to the other side. The silver-armored man also stopped. Everyone looked at the silhouette in the sky. It was a middle-aged man, but his hair was already gray. His eyes were filled with terrifying power. At this moment, he looked at the silver-armored man and smiled. "Mr. Lei, so you are here. I just arrived at the 9-Dragon Mountain and heard that you came out, so I came. I'm not late, am I? So it was Taoist Hua. Greetings." Mr. Lei laughed as well. "It's not too late. There's a reckless ant who wants to provoke me. I'm just about to kill him." Oh, in the sky, Taoist Hua looked to the other side, where Lin Xian was. Immediately, the space around Lin Xian began to distort. It was as if countless raging flames were burning. Fantasy frowned. He wanted to attack, but Lin Xian stopped him. What a terrifying power of fire! However, Lin Xian was not affected at all. Taoist Hua was stunned when he saw that the other party was not afraid of his flames. No wonder he dared to go against Mr. Lei. He did have some strength. However, a mere first heaven saint was not worthy of Mr. Lei taking action. "I'll send someone to kill him." "Mr. Lei, please come with me." Taoist Hua laughed. He did not take Lin Xian seriously at all. The silver-armored man thought for a while and nodded. "All right, but bring back the little monkey on his shoulder. Don't kill it. Don't worry, his head and the white monkey will be given to Mr. Lei." "Mr. Lei, please." Taoist Hua made a gesture of invitation. The silver-armored man and his companion nodded and flew into the sky. Taoist Hua waved his hand again, and countless experts appeared. His cold voice was heard. "Kill him and bring his monkey over." In the surroundings, the spectating experts were all stunned. Wasn't this scene too sudden? At the same time, screams could be heard. 9 Netherworld clan. It was actually someone from the 9 Netherworld clan. Heavens, that was a top blacksmith clan. Many people swallowed their saliva. It was obvious that the 9 Netherworld clan was extremely terrifying in this world. That was an expert from the 9 Netherworld clan. He should have used the 9 Netherworld heart flame. Who was that silver-armored man? How could he be treated so respectfully by an elder from the 9 Netherworld clan? Needless to say, he must have a great background. Exclamations could be heard. At the same time, they looked at Lin Xian with sympathy in their eyes. It's over. This kid actually offended someone with such a high status. He's probably dead meat. Not to mention the silver-armored man. Just the 9 Netherworld clan would be able to kill him. Previously, they thought that Lin Xian still had some strength and might be able to contend with the silver-armored man. Now that something like this had happened, they all changed their minds. Lin Xian was dead meat. 6 figures appeared and surrounded Lin Xian and Fantasy. One of the young men sneered. How dare he attack an esteemed guest of the 9 Netherworld clan? He's dead meat. Buzz! He opened his mouth and spat out a pearl. The pearl had terrifying Tao patterns on it, and it instantly swept across the 9 heavens. A terrifying storm swept towards Lin Xian like 2 wind dragons dancing in the sky. What a terrifying storm! Was that the wind spirit pearl? Exclamations could be heard. As expected of a refining family, such a terrifying weapon appeared just by raising his hand. In the face of such a terrifying storm, Lin Xian's expression was calm. He raised a finger and pointed forward. Immediately, the 2 tornadoes were disrupted and spread out in all directions, enveloping the 6 people in the vicinity. The 6 people were instantly enraged. Damn it, what the hell was going on? Angry roars could be heard as a terrifying counterattack came. Between heaven and earth, there was a violent flow of energy. Lin Xian laughed and soared into the sky. The storm energy that filled the sky couldn't get close to him at all. The surrounding people widened their eyes. What the hell? What kind of supernatural power was that? Wasn't it too powerful? This kid must have some kind of secret. They were stunned. It was unbelievable that he was unharmed in such a violent storm of energy. The 6 people from the 9 Netherworld clan also roared. They tore apart the storm and stared at the figure. Kid, where are you going? You're going to die today. They were completely enraged. The other party's move put the 6 of them in a very sorry state. Moreover, it was their elder's order to capture the other party. How could they give up? Therefore, they chased after him. However, after chasing for tens of thousands of miles, their expressions changed. Damn it, the other party was too fast. They couldn't catch up. Look at me. One of them sneered and took out a war chariot that shone with incomparable light. It was engraved with Tao patterns, and it was shaped like a dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws. The war chariot enlarged, and they stood on it. With an order, the formation was activated, and the war chariot turned into a stream of light. Its speed was extremely fast. Chapter 3489. In front, Lin Xian slowed down. These people shouldn't be able to catch up with him, so he was prepared to go to other places to take a look. At the same time, he was very curious about the 9 Nether tribe and wanted to find out more about them. However, not long after he flew, he frowned and looked behind him. Behind him, endless waves of air and a ray of light were coming at him at a dazzling speed. It was so fast. Dreamy was surprised. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He instantly saw that it was a war chariot. There were 6 figures standing on it. Those 6 figures were the people from the 9 Nether tribe. They actually caught up with him. They really didn't give up. Su Qin was surprised. The other party's war chariot was very special, as expected of a crafting family. He didn't continue to leave and was prepared to play with these families. Almost in the blink of an eye, the war chariot at the back rushed nearby. The 6 people on the war chariot jumped down and stood in 6 directions. They surrounded Lin Xian tightly. One of them snorted coldly. "Brat, why don't you run? Do you think you can escape from us?" Sigh. There are always people who don't know what's good for them. To be honest, if you can't catch up, you can still live. But you just have to catch up. Since that's the case, I can only send you to hell. You want to send us to hell? You? The 6 members of the 9 Underworlds clan all laughed. Reckless brat, who do you think you are? It seems that you don't know how powerful the 9 Nether tribe is. Well, let him see the means of the 9 Nether tribe. Among them, a woman giggled. She waved her hand and took out a treasure bottle. She held it with both hands and pointed the mouth of the bottle at Lin Xian. "Scum, go to hell." Light flickered on it, and balls of flames rushed out from it. "Leaf fire bottle." This was also a terrifying weapon that contained the southern sky leaf fire. Once this fire was released, a first heaven sage couldn't resist at all. Haha, turn into ashes in the fire. The woman's voice rang out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lin Xian was enveloped by the southern sky fire, and crackling sounds came from his body. The flames collided with his body. Every strike was dazzling. However, Lin Xian wasn't injured at all. He just stood there in the middle of the fire. Southern sky, primordial fire? Not bad, its power is not bad. What? How is this possible? That woman screamed, not daring to believe it. The other party was actually unharmed? This was impossible. Engulfed by the southern heavenly fire, even a first heaven sage would have been reduced to a pool of blood. How could the other party still be alive? Damn it, is there something wrong with his physique? Or does he have some kind of treasure? Look at me. Another person roared angrily and pulled out a fan. The fan flickered, with a mountain drawn on the front and a river on the back. With a wave of the fan, mountains and rivers appeared and crushed the heavens. This was an extremely terrifying weapon, the mountain river fan. The mountain peak could suppress the 9 heavens, and the river could cut through everything. Nobody under the second celestial layer would dare to fight against it. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Lin Xian shot out his golden hand, one hand holding the sky. At the same time, he lifted his foot and stepped on the river. He was like a heavenly god, creating heaven and earth. He had blocked the terrifying attack. This was impossible. That man also screamed. The other party actually blocked the mountain river fan. Who was he? Damn it, this kid is too strange. Let's attack together. With a roar, the 6 of them attacked crazily. In addition to the fire flask and the mountain river fan, the other 4 also took out their weapons. Each of them had an extremely terrifying weapon. As expected of a blacksmith family, they were too terrifying. Even a second heaven sage would have to flee in panic if they were to face their attacks. However, they were soon terrified. That was because the person in front of them was too strange. Whether it was fire, lightning, mountain fangs, or other attacks, they could not do anything to him. He was like a Vajra god of war, rampaging between heaven and earth. He was too weak. In the end, all the phenomena disappeared, and Lin Xian stood in the void unharmed. Although the weapon was good, it was only a support. The most important thing was the strength of the person. Let me show you what the strength of a person is. Lin Xian took a step forward and aimed at the woman. As he opened and closed his hands, the fire flask instantly formed. Then he gently pushed it forward. The golden flames that filled the sky rushed over like a giant dragon. The fire flask, the surrounding people were stunned. The other party instantly conjured a fire flask, and the flames were even more terrifying than the real southern sky fire. Damn it, block it for me. The woman screamed and pushed the real fire flask. The southern sky fire collided with the other party's 9 suns, divine fire. The terrifying flames exploded, and the woman instantly vomited blood and flew backward. In front of the 9 suns, divine fire, she was no match at all. Moreover, cracks appeared on the fire flask. It was burned and shattered. The woman was also wrapped in flames. She screamed miserably and turned into a pool of blood. No, the remaining 5 roared madly. One of their fellow tribesmen had actually died. He was killed in one move. Damn it, kill him. We must kill him. Their eyes instantly turned red. Lin Xian shouted coldly, "You want to kill me? Naive. Let me show you what the real mountains and rivers are like." The golden hand waved toward the sky. Endless earth elemental laws danced and instantly condensed into a golden mountain. What kind of mountain was that? It was incomparably majestic, as if a divine mountain had descended from the celestial world. It directly pressed down on the man with the mountain and rivers fan. The man unleashed a terrifying mountains and rivers to resist it, producing a rumbling sound. Lin Xian waved his hands, and the water elemental laws formed a Milky Way that swept out. The Milky Way was too resplendent, connecting heaven and earth. The Golden Mountain and the terrifying Milky Way directly enveloped the man, turning him into a bloody mist. No, counterattack. The remaining 4 people were completely crazy. In 2 moves, the other party had killed 2 of their people. This method was heaven-defying. They did not dare to be careless and attacked crazily. However, they finally understood Lin Xian's words. What was true power? Lin Xian did not use any weapons at all. He relied on his own strength to communicate with heaven and earth. It was much more terrifying than the weapons in their hands. At this moment, they were crazy. They were the top blacksmithing families. The weapons in their hands could communicate with heaven and earth. They were much more terrifying than the other sages. Therefore, in this place, they were godlike existences. But now, relying on his own strength to communicate with heaven and earth, it was even more terrifying than their weapons. This completely shattered their understanding of the world. Was there really someone whose strength was more terrifying than their weapons? These geniuses of the blacksmithing families went crazy. They were all killed with unwillingness and shock. Chapter 3490. After dealing with these 6 people, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Interesting. Although these 6 people's strength was average, the weapons in their hands were very surprising. If it was not for his strength, any other person in the second heaven would probably be injured or killed. As expected of a blacksmith family, Lin Xian whispered to Nan Nan. He asked Meng Meng if there were any other top blacksmith families on this planet other than the Jiu clan. Yes, there are. What plans do you have? I have a spirit ship that I plan to upgrade. It would be best if it could be upgraded to a sacred weapon. The spirit ship he was talking about was naturally the Black Earth. The Black Earth could not keep up with Lin Xian's progress until now. If it could be upgraded to a sacred weapon, it would be a great help to him. Of course, there was another one, and that was the Great Spear of Destruction. The Great Spear of Destruction was a sacred weapon of the Demon Clan, and it had been passed down for a very long time. It could be said to be an extremely terrifying weapon. He wanted to refine this weapon and then condense it into a treasure sword. However, he knew that this might be more difficult than upgrading the Black Earth. A sacred weapon of this grade was not so easy to refine. Therefore, Lin Xian's main task was to purify the Black Earth. As for the Great Spear of Destruction, it would depend on luck. Let's go. Waving his hand, Lin Xian and Meng Meng flew into the distance. When they passed by a few cities, they heard some rumors. It seemed that something incredible was about to happen on the entire alchemy planet. The powerhouses in these cities were all flying in the same direction. Meng Meng went to inquire and returned. Lord, they are heading in the direction of Alchemy Valley. What kind of place was Alchemy Valley? It was a holy land for blacksmithing, and many blacksmith masters lived there. There were also many other saints who went there. Even the powerhouses from other planets went there. It was a bit like our Langistar. Alchemy Valley could attract powerhouses from all directions. After all, there were the most new treasures there. Moreover, there was an extremely terrifying blacksmith master recently. It was his 5,000th birthday. Therefore, countless people went to pay their respects. During this period, there might be some new weapons that would be leaked. Oh, a 5,000-year-old master. He could be considered a living fossil. Lin Xian was extremely surprised. He asked, wondering which clan this grandmaster belonged to. Dreamy had a strange expression on her face as she spoke. It was Nine Nether's team. The Jiu clan? Lin Xian frowned slightly, but he soon smiled. Interesting. Things were getting more and more interesting. Dreamy, let's go to Alchemy Valley. Both of them took to the air and headed for Alchemy Valley. Alchemy Valley was located to the west of Alchemy Planet. It was a vast valley that looked like a kingdom. The Alchemy Valley was extremely unusual because there were 2 spirit meridians below. One was a fire elemental spirit meridian, while the other was a metal elemental spirit meridian. Furthermore, both of them were extremely terrifying supreme-grade spirit meridians that had existed for tens of thousands of years. Therefore, it attracted countless alchemy experts to live here. Many elders and experts of large clans had also set up palaces here. For example, the 9 Nether Clans Grand Elder had his palace here. This supreme elder was no ordinary person. He had lived for 5,000 years. He could be said to be a living fossil. At this moment, his birthday had attracted people from all over the world. If they wanted to please the old man, then any weapon the old man took out would be enough to make their blood boil. Rumor had it that the old man was able to refine sacred weapons without any difficulty. It was said that the dragon sword of a powerful saint in the Dragon Valley was made by the old man. There was another rumor that the Dark Moon Temple once had an extremely terrifying Dark Moon blade, which was also made by the old man. This was a famous sacred weapon. Lin Xian and Dreamy also rushed over. Both of them had changed their faces slightly. No one could recognize them. After all, they remembered that the silver-armored man had been invited away by the experts of the 9 Nether Clan. If they met at this time, they would probably be exposed because Lin Xian had a plan. Along the way, he had also collected many legends about master alchemists. However, in the entire Alchemy Valley, no one could compare to the old man who was celebrating his birthday. The old man's alchemy skills could be said to have reached the acme of perfection. Therefore, if Lin Xian wanted to evolve the Black Earth into a true sacred weapon, his greatest hope was the 9 Nether Clans Grand Elder. However, he had just had a conflict with the 9 Nether Clan, and he could not use his true identity. Otherwise, those from the Vermilion Bird Palace would probably come after him again. Therefore, he would think of other ways. After arriving at the Alchemy Valley, Lin Xian directly found a quiet mansion, and then let Dreamy go out to gather information. Soon, Dreamy returned. How did it go? I've already found out that the 9 Nether Clans Grand Elder is celebrating his birthday. In addition to the experts of the 8 Barons, the younger generation of the 9 Nether Clan will naturally come to celebrate his birthday. The competition between these juniors is very intense. Some of the bloodlines are very strong, and some have been suppressed to the point that they can't raise their heads. This time, I've chosen 3 people, and I let the Hallmaster decide. As she spoke, Dreamy took out 3 jade slips and placed them in front of Lin Xian. Lin Xian withdrew his hand, and his soul popped out to check. Soon he finished reading the 3 jade slips. Then he took the middle one and said, "I'll choose this person." This person's name was 9 Nether Shaoyan. It was a nice name, but he was a fatty. He could be considered one of the disciples of the 3 main bloodlines of the 9 Nether Clan. However, he was a little slippery and lazy in his cultivation, so he was not favored by the clan elders. He was also often bullied by the genius disciples of the other 2 bloodlines. A direct disciple who was often bullied. Very good. Lin Xian nodded in satisfaction. This was his goal. Find out where he is, and I'll go meet him. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. He had a simple plan, and that was to change his appearance and then change his identity to get close to the younger generation of the 9 Nether Clan. It would be best if he could become friends, and then the younger generation would bring him to the birthday banquet. This way, the chances of him meeting the Grand Elder would be greatly increased. Of course, Lin Xian would not look for those strong disciples. After all, those people were overbearing and did not care about anything. It was not easy to meet them. However, if it was a weak person, it would be different. They should be eager to raise their heads in front of the old ancestor and obtain his approval. Dreamy went to track 9 Nether Shaoyun and confirm his whereabouts, while Lin Xian was patiently preparing. This time, he would definitely evolve the Black Earth into a saint artifact. Dreamy was very efficient. After a few hours, she began to send a voice transmission to Lin Xian, saying that she had found him. She wanted to invite Lin Xian over. When Lin Xian heard this, his figure changed, and he turned into a streak of light, disappearing into the void. Chapter 3491. At the Jubao Pavilion. It was a very prosperous place in Alchemy Valley. There were all kinds of treasures here, including all kinds of heavenly treasures and earthly treasures. At this moment, the people who came and went were all rich and noble. In the Jubao Pavilion, there were many chariots, spirit boats, and beast mounts parked in the streets and in the sky. Buzz! Buzz! Suddenly, the void trembled. A stream of light flew over quickly. It was a chariot, and the one pulling it was a three-tailed heavenly dog. As it roared, it brought about a strong demonic wind. The three-tailed heavenly dog soon stopped above the Jubao Pavilion. A figure came down from the chariot. The figure was fat and looked like a ball. It was a young man with a fat head and big ears. Beside him, there were two beautiful women supporting him. The moment the fatty came down, he turned into a stream of light and flew directly to the Jubao Pavilion. The two maidservants were wrapped up by him and entered the Jubao Pavilion in an instant. The Jubao Pavilion was dazzling, and all kinds of heavenly treasures were covered by a rays. Even a sage could not take them away by force. The moment the fatty entered, he was respectfully invited in by the warriors inside. "Oh, isn't this young Master Yin? He hasn't been here for many days." A charming woman walked over. She was dressed in red, and as she swayed, she made people feel hot. The two women next to the fatty curled their lips, and there was a trace of hostility in their eyes. The fatty's eyes were indeed shining. "Sister Hong, I missed you so much." The fatty rushed up and chuckled. "Sister Hong, I'm here this time to discuss a big business deal with you. Why don't we go to the 9th floor and talk alone?" As he said that, the fatty grabbed Sister Hong's hand. Sister Hong pulled her hand out without a trace and laughed. She pointed a finger at the fatty's forehead and said with a smile, "All right. However, I still have something to do now. Young Master Yin, take your time. I'll help you buy whatever you like." "Something to do? What's more important than helping me pick out heavenly treasures?" The fatty was a little dissatisfied. However, Sister Hong smiled and said, "Oh, speaking of which, it's also related to you. It's another young master of the Abyss clan. He's here to buy a heavenly treasure too." "What? Someone from the Abyss clan? Damn it, could it be those bastards? What did they buy?" Fatty asked nervously. Sister Hong said, "It seems to be some metal material, right? It was extremely precious and seemed to be used to refine saint artifacts." "It was used to refine saint artifacts." Fatty gritted his teeth. "Mother asterisk her, they're so generous." "Young Master Yin, you can take your time picking. I'll take my leave first." Sister Hong swayed her body and left. The fatty was no longer in the mood to admire her back view. His expression was grave. "Damn it, the old ancestor's birthday celebration is coming soon. I was just about to buy something to please the old man. He didn't expect that those bastards would also come. Moreover, they wanted to buy the materials for the saint artifact. No, I can't lose to them. This time, the old ancestor only has one spot to take in a disciple. I must get it." Fatty gritted his teeth, then raised his voice and screamed, "Men, take me to the 3rd floor!" Soon, the people from the treasure-gathering pavilion led Fatty's group to the 3rd floor. The scale of the 3rd level was also very large. However, there were far fewer people here. This was because the items on the 3rd level were simply too expensive, not to mention ordinary people. Even saints might not be able to afford them. In the east, there was a formation that was divided into many areas. In each area, countless rays of light wrapped around a natural treasure. At this moment, there were only 2 or 3 people here. After Fatty arrived at the 3rd floor, he directly led his group to the east. Soon he stopped in an area. In front of him was a ball of green light. It was a green metal. It looked like bronze, but its color was much richer. 3,000 pieces of green ancestral gold. Fatty's eyes lit up as he looked at the piece of green metal. This was a material that could be used to refine sacred artifacts. If he could get it and give it away at the birthday celebration, he would definitely be honored. He would definitely be able to win the old ancestor's favor. However, when he saw the price marked on the side, he immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. He could take out 500 caddies of divine crystals, but 50,000? Even if he was killed, he wouldn't be able to take it out. Although he was also a direct disciple, he wasn't favored. He couldn't afford it with the little money he had. The fatty stood there with a gloomy look on his face. The few figures beside him also opened their mouths to ask. One of them was also interested in a piece of metal. It was a piece of black metal that was also used to refine saint artifacts. It wasn't big either, but it reached 40,000 caddies of divine crystals. The other one wanted 45,000 caddies of divine crystals. The eyes of the two saints also flickered and they frowned. To be honest, this price was also a bit of a burden for them. Therefore, for a moment, the people here were all thinking, I want this piece of 3,000 green ancestral metal. At this moment, a calm voice rang out. It streaked across the entire third floor. Immediately, everyone on the third floor turned their heads. Fatty even sucked in a breath of cold air. Damn, who is this? Why is he so generous? Can't he see that those powerful saints are hesitating? Everyone looked in the direction of the voice. The fatty screamed as he realized that there was a figure standing near him. It was a young man with a calm gaze and a handsome face. There was also a beautiful figure beside him. The person who made the bid was the person in front of him. What did this kid say? He wants that piece of 3,000 green ancestral metal. The saints beside him were shocked. How was that possible? It was probably just a casual remark. How could that kid afford it? The Tao companion of the saint pursed her lips with a disdainful expression. With their status, they couldn't afford it. How could that kid afford it? At this moment, an old man tore open the void and appeared on the third floor. He said, I'm an elder of the Jubao Pavilion. Young master, do you really want to buy this piece of metal? Yes, that's it. The young man nodded. Wrap it up for me. The fatty next to him widened his eyes. The 2 or 3 saints around him were also stunned. One of them sneered. How dare he be so stubborn? They never thought that the other party could afford it. However, in the next moment, those saints were dumbfounded because the young man directly took out a storage ring. 50,000 caddies of divine crystals. Take a look. After the elder of the Jubao Pavilion took the storage ring, he probed it with his soul. Soon he smiled. The amount was just right. Young master, this is your item. The 3,000 green ancestral gold was already sealed in the treasure box. There was a seal on it. There was also a token on the treasure box, which was used to open the seal. It could be said to be very safe. After Lin Xian took the treasure box and token, he nodded slightly and put them into the storage ring. He turned around and was about to walk out. Chapter 3492. Brother, wait a minute. Seeing that the other party was about to leave, the fatty rushed up and said with a smile. Lin Xian stopped. Oh, you have something to say? This figure was Lin Xian. He had his eyes on the fatty for a long time. At this moment, the fatty had bought 3,000 pieces of ancestral green gold. Brother, you're really generous. May I know which family you're from? The fatty said with a smile. Lin Xian was amused. He knew that the fatty had taken the bait, but he couldn't show it. Instead, he said calmly, Oh, why? Do you want to be friends with me? Yes, yes, yes. I want to be friends with you. The fatty was smiling so widely that his eyes had turned into slits. Lin Xian said, All right, but this isn't the place to talk. Let's talk outside. Yes, yes, yes. The fatty hurriedly nodded. Brother, I know a shop nearby. It's very delicious. The greenhouse there is absolutely delicious. I'll take you there now. Lin Xian walked in front with fantasy. The fatty followed at the side with a smile and kept trying to worm his way into being friends. In the distance, the 3 sages also came back to their senses. Their faces were full of shock. At the same time, there was a trace of doubt. Who is this person who's so generous? It seems that he came out on his own. He's a young master of a big family. I can take advantage of him. The three of them also left quietly. After leaving the Jubao pavilion, Lin Xian walked into the distance. Suddenly, his eyebrows twitched and his eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. Someone was following him. It was the sages on the third floor. He continued to walk forward without batting an eyelid. Fatty brought along his two women and followed beside him. Brother, you have no idea. You were so cool just now. You didn't even blink when you bought 50,000 caddies of divine crystals. Didn't you see that the sages beside you were stunned? Lin Xian stopped and looked at the fatty with a smile. Not only were they stunned, but they're also very bold. They've already followed me. What? They've followed me. The fatty was stunned and hurriedly looked around. Brother, don't scare me. Lin Xian ignored him. Instead, he said coldly, since you're already here, why don't you come out? Brat, your soul is pretty good. You were actually able to discover our existence. A figure appeared in front of him. Beside him was a beautiful Tao companion. It was a saint. That saint had a cold smile on his face. Hand over that piece of metal, and I'll spare your life. You're alone. Aren't the other two coming out? Lin Xian looked at the surrounding void and sneered. Naturally, he could sense that there were two more saints here. Dreamy took a deep breath with a solemn expression. Fatty's two women's faces also changed. The fatty snorted coldly and stood out. Brother, don't be afraid, I'll protect you. He looked at the saint in front of him. Damn it! How dare you attack my brother's things? Are you tired of living? Let me tell you, I'm from the 9 Netherbird clan. The 9 Netherbird clan. The sage was stunned. The fatty smiled. That's right. I'm from the 9 Netherworld clan. Our patriarch is about to celebrate his 5,000th birthday. Many experts have come to our family. Why? Do you want me to call him over for you to meet? Who would believe you if you said you were from the 9 Netherbird clan? Everyone knows about the 5,000th birthday. You can't call me. The saint in front snorted coldly. The fatty was furious. Damn it! How dare you doubt my identity? Come, open your eyes and see if I'm from the 9 Netherbird clan. The fatty was also furious. He waved his hand and a token appeared in the sky, shining with an unparalleled light. That was the 9 Netherworld token. The expression of the sage on the other side changed. The two sages who were hidden in the void gasped as well. How could they not recognize the 9 Netherworld token? It was a token unique to the 9 Netherbird clan. No one could copy it. It seemed that the fatty in front of them was really from the 9 Netherbird clan. So you're a prince from the 9 Netherbird clan. Sorry for disturbing you. Goodbye. The saint in front of them left in a flash. The 9 Netherbird clan was very powerful. Moreover, the 9 Netherbird clan Supreme Elder was about to celebrate his 5,000th birthday. There were many experts from the 9 Netherbird clan in the entire Alchemy Valley. They did not dare to attack the 9 Netherbird clan at this time. He was not the only one who left. The two saints hidden in the dark also left. Fatty proudly put away the token. Meanwhile, Lin Xian and Dreamy exchanged glances with each other, and a smile appeared on their faces. Next, it was time to act. Lin Xian was surprised. So you're from the 9 Netherbird clan. I didn't expect that. That's right. I'm from the 9 Netherbird clan. Those saints would not dare to go against me. Lin Xian pretended to be grateful. You saved my life this time. Otherwise, those saints would not have let me go. Sigh, I should be the one treating you. No, I'll do it. The fatty laughed. The two of them walked into the distance with their arms around each other's shoulders. Soon, they became familiar with each other. They ate Dapeng spreading wings as they got to know each other like brothers. The fatty sighed. Brother, I'm bitter. Although I'm from the 9 Netherbird clan, there are a few bastards who bully me. Damn it, they bully me too much just because they are favored by the elder. The great ancestor's birthday celebration is my last chance to turn things around. However, he sighed again. Lin Xian asked, "Oh, what's the problem? Tell me about it. I'll definitely be able to help." "Brother, to be honest, I haven't prepared a gift for the elder yet." "How can I not be worried?" Lin Xian laughed when he heard that. "So that's what you're talking about." "I thought it would be something difficult. Look, what's this?" As he spoke, he took out the treasure box and placed it on the table. The fatty was stunned. Then he said, "Brother, what do you mean?" "The elder should be an expert in refining weapons. This metal is a good material for refining saint weapons. I'm sure the elder will like it if you give it to him as a birthday gift." "I like it. I really like it." The fatty was about to cry. "Unfortunately, I can't afford it. I can't take out 50,000 caddies of divine crystals. You don't have to buy it. I'll give it to you." "Give it to me?" The fatty's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. "Did I hear wrongly? You're giving such a precious metal to me?" Lin Xian said, "You didn't hear wrongly. We hit off at first sight. Aren't we brothers? Besides, you helped me get rid of a few sages just now. You saved my life. Why can't I give it to you? Brother, you're the one who saved my life." The fatty's eyes lit up. "Are you sure you're giving it to me?" Lin Xian waved his hand and pushed the treasure box and token over. The fatty was so excited that he was about to cry. "Damn it. From now on, you're my brother. If you have any problems in the future, you can talk to me through a mountain of knives or a sea of flames." The fatty's face was covered in tears and snot. "Good." Lin Xian smiled. He was indeed smiling in satisfaction. The first step was a success. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.